Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon from Ohio. Today, nice beautiful weather. I think we had a bit of rain this morning earlier, probably late in the evening, early in the morning. It's pretty good weather down here, and not as hot as Pensacola, of course, Florida, but it's getting closely warming up a little bit here and there. Not so bad. Now, I had somebody ask me a question regards the update to the Iranian situation happening presently. So I thought, okay, I'll have to give a little update on that. Somebody asked about it, so I thought maybe prudent to at least give you an update on what's going on between the Gulf states. I don't know if you're aware that there was a couple of ships, crude oil ships of Saudi Arabia, that were damaged by explosions in the Persian Gulf, in the Hormuz Straits. Now, the Hormuz Straits, for those of you who don't know, this is going back now a few years. I wrote about this many years ago in one of my books about the Hormuz Straits, of how this will become a very, very strategic, important point in future history, and this is where all the conflicts are going to be centered. A lot of conflicts are going to be centered there, and a lot of action is going to take place here. I mean, I wrote about this, goodness, I mean, Rabbi Kefa must have been 12, 13, 14 years ago, and this is happening in our time today, where this is a strategic point of all the ships that cross into Europe and other places with oil and other goods that are passing through to the rest of the world. So the US has now sent off one of their carriers and also a few destroyers into that region, because the US is now expecting fully to be engaged in some kind of a conflict with Iran. Iran is obviously in the backgrounds. It's frustrated with the US and the sanction process and the things that are going on in the Middle East. Yeah, the Straits of Hormuz is a very important location for world geopolitics. Abrahu is saying that, yes, when I was in the Navy, we sailed full speed through there and we would be following by the Iranians go fast, small fast boats. Yeah, absolutely. So Iranians use their small boats, very fast, and they are geared up, to fire torpedoes and other things. So these small boats are very dangerous. I mean, they can take down a carrier. I mean, they carry, armaments on there that could actually blow a hole through a carrier and sink it. So, having said that, we are actually what we're looking at presently is we're not looking at a full-scale war, because the question was asked is, are we looking at a full-scale war right now? Probably not straight away. We are, by the way, we are going to have a war as well. By the way, we will have this war too. Right now, we're looking at what we call a proxy war in between the U.S., Israel, and of course Iran and a few other nations. So the U.S. has ordered right now all their troops, or not the troops, all their special office staff from Iraq out of Iraq, because they are feeling attacks coming in from the Iranian forces in kind of like a proxy kind of war, where Iranians are going to use small go-to jihadi operations, small go-to operations, who are going to be attacking different facilities that are controlled by the allies in that region, in Iraq and of course Persian Gulf. And I can tell you that Saudi Arabia is going to be, yes, they're going to also take the brunt of this, because Iran's going to be having a war with Saudi Arabia too. Eddie, yes, will the war with Iran happen? The war with Iran will happen, not this time. Right now we're basically warming up. It's like a sparring match, warm-up sparring match, and it may not be a full-scale war right now. It'll be a small war, but it'll be behind the scenes. It'll be what we call a proxy war. It'll be a war between Iran on the shores of Persian Gulf. It will be fought on the shores of Iraq and Saudi Arabia. And so the brunt of the nations that will take this will probably be the US, Saudi Arabia. Pakistan will be in the front somewhere. Pakistan probably won't aid Iran, but Pakistan's soil will be used by the radical Muslim fighters who will probably aid Iran and be against the US and definitely Saudi Arabia. They won't be in favor of Saudi Arabia either. So this will go on presently, and I believe that what's going to happen is that already in Pakistan the ISIS already made a mark, because they did a suicide bombing in Balochistan and killed a lot of people over there recently. And so they already and they are situating themselves on they are situating themselves in Kashmir, in a region of Pakistan and India that is basically being fought by Pakistan and India, both sides right now. And they are situating themselves right there because it's like a no man's area. And the Taliban, that are in Afghanistan, and some of them are in Pakistan, these Taliban are lining up with al-Baghdadi, who's obviously one of these ISIS guys from Iraq. And it was reported at one time that al-Baghdadi actually worked for CIA, believe it or not. The CIA is in cahoots in these places as well. I mean, I wouldn't say that they are entirely, they are working for their own, they have their own agenda as well. So CIA has their own agenda. He probably did, Olivia. He probably did. So Olivia is saying that he probably worked for the Mossad. Mossad is also involved in this. So rest assured that the CIA, Mossad, I guess some of the other services that we have, the MI6, the British service, and probably the French as well. These are all in close cahoots with each other, and they're all involved. You got the Muslim front on one side, and you got the I say in quotes Christian and Jewish front on the other side. So these proxy wars are going to be fought over energy, oil, water, and probably other minerals that the world is in need of. So, and China probably is playing a role as well in this. China's not far behind, but China's more aligned with the Eastern nations, Muslim nations, I would say. China's more aligned with those nations than it is with the Western nations. And this is why this trade war that we are seeing in the West right now, this trade war is probably a behind the scenes action that's been taken by the US president in order to pacify China somewhat. Don't take that just for a trade war, because those of you just take it for a trade war, you're not clued up. You're very naive if you think this is about some trade going between the US and China. No, this is a much bigger picture, much bigger picture. This involves more than trade. This involves major hegemony in the world. Whether China controls major hegemony in certain areas, geographic locations of the world, or whether the US control it. And so I guess US has their Muslim partners such as Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and some of the other nations that are closely aligned. Pakistan right now is not very aligned with the US. They're not very happy with the US right now. So they are more or less how should I say it? You have a chessboard and you have all these pieces on the chessboard. You have this war horse, like a horse on there that can go 2.5 moves each side. Pakistan is like that right now. It doesn't, it's like a horse, war horse. It can be used by either side, for or against. Yeah, that knight. It's the knight basically. So Pakistan is a knight right now. It can be used by China. It can be used by the US. Depends, who pays the ransom gets Pakistan's support. That's basically it. Whoever pays the ransom and gives Pakistan certain promises, Pakistan will fight for those guys, whether that's China, whether that's the US. So therefore we will see that's what's going on right now. That's brief update, and Saudi Arabia is going to be crucified, of course. Saudi Arabia is, this little boy, in the park, this little bully, this fatty, who's been bullying the world with oil and embargoes and all these things in the past. But now Saudi Arabia wants to be this little, please help me, kind of thing, right? Wants America to help Saudi Arabia, and because Iran is shaking his fist, at Saudi Arabia, because Iran knows that Saudi Arabia would like to have Iran put down and diminish. Saudi Arabia is asking the US to fire cruise missiles at Iran. So, there goes your so-called peaceful religion. Where is the peace in that? Where is the dialogue? One has to ask, where is the dialogue in this? You ask your big brothers, US, fire cruise missiles at Iran. That, my goodness, that's Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is corrupt as anything. And Persia will never be defeated by Saudi Arabia, by the way. Persia will destroy Saudi Arabia one day. That's a given. So we're not quite at that point, but we came close with the ISIS threat in Syria. We were pretty close to it. And people asked me that time, is the ISIS the one that's going to destroy it? I said, probably not. ISIS is probably not the one to destroy Saudi Arabia. That will happen at a later stage. So far, I've been proven correct that ISIS wasn't the ones to do that. But Iran will definitely attempt at some point, and Bible prophecy says that will happen in the future. What time? We don't know for sure. We don't have exact timeline, but we do know that Iran will make major damages. It will cause major damages in Saudi Arabia's infrastructure. So hold fire to that. We will continue to monitor the situation in the Middle East as it occurs. Now our Parsha today is going to be Parsha's Emor, Parsha 31, and the joke of our week this week is at an ecumenical religious conference, 3 panelists were asked or are asked where they stand as to when life begins. And this life begins has been a big issue in the US right now, with Alabama forcing a very strict ban on abortions and so on and so forth, and other states kind of following suit. So at this particular ecumenical religious conference, we believe life begins at conception, says a panel's Catholic priest. We believe life begins at birth, says a liberal Protestant. We believe that life begins when the kids are out of the house and the dog dies, says the rabbi. Okay, so so this talk about abortion and what is life, pro-life, not so pro-life, etc. These discussions are going on in the US as we speak. And I last heard that Alabama came up with a very strict ban about this particular ban about not killing. It is killing, killing a baby, actually life, taking life at certain phase of the conception of a child. I guess you could read up more about it in the news. Yes, that's right. A life innocent at that, which is which we are basically responsible for as adults. Now we're going to look at a little bit about this chapter 21 on the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, and I'm just going to have a quick read of some of the verses to give you an idea what it's about, and we can maybe talk around that. Chapter 21, and Yahweh said to Moshe, speak to the Kohanim, that is the priesthood, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, they shall none be defiled for the dead among his people, but for his kin that is near to him, that is for his mother, and for his father, and for his son, and for his daughter, and for his brother, and for his sister a virgin that is near to him, which has no husband, for her may he be defiled. But he shall not defile himself, being a chief man among his people, to profane himself. Okay. So what does this mean? So basically we spoke about this a little bit, I think a couple of weeks back, and we were speaking about it that this basically means that the priesthood really were mentioned to be refraining from a certain few things that were mentioned not to do, And as I said to you, that no particular scripture is given or text is given that says why. There's nothing in that says why can't the priesthood get defiled, or why can't they marry a divorced woman in Israel at that time, or why can't they not go to the graveyard, etc. So then I can tell you the reason for that is very simple. Rabbis have wrestled with these verses for many years. Nobody's really come up with any succinct answer, but I'll tell you the answer straight through. It is basically this. It's to do with our connection with God, vibration, frequency, and the reason, the main reason is that not only that we are connected, or we were and we are connected with God, but we had access to divine information which would be hindered if we became defiled. Defile is not something bad or something wrong or some kind of a sin. It's not. It was just that it would hinder our our communication with the divine. So that's basically that. Let me deal with one person in here before I can say anything. So having said that, it is important to understand that we had very close communication with the divine, the infinite source, what we call the infinite source, and what we call the divine energy that is today known as God. So that basically is why the priesthood wasn't allowed to do certain things. They were like don'ts. Otherwise, from a societal point of view, it didn't really matter whether we did or we didn't. But it did matter from a divinity point of view, because it will exclude us from communication with the infinite source. That, of course, is the source of all things, is God Himself. Hence why that's a basic thing going on. And apart from that, that can be seen, that can be also be seen in other instances of our scriptures. I can tell you this, that I wanted to look at something else, which was something in the book of Ezekiel and something in the book of 2 Kings. In 2 Kings 13:17, it says, "Open the east window." And he said, and he opened it. "Shoot," Elisha said, and he shot. This is the Yahweh's arrow of victory, the arrow of victory over Aram. Elisha declared, "You will completely destroy the Arameans at Aphek." So the king from the north, he goes to Elisha the prophet. Elisha the prophet, by the way, was a priest, was a Kohen, and he asked Elisha, what shall he do? He tells him to pick up his bow and arrow, and he then tells him that he had to do a certain ritual. Now this, by the way, is a ritual, and he asked him to do a certain ritual. He said, fire the arrow in open space out through the window. And so the king basically followed suit. He fired the arrow out of the window, and of course, the arrow disappeared into the wind, fell down somewhere, and then Elisha the prophet told him that you shall defeat the Aramean king that's coming against you. By the way, Aram is today synonymous with Iraq. Okay, so that's where the king was coming from. And after that, the prophet asked the king to pick up the arrow and do something with it, hit it on the ground a number of times. And the king just picked it up and hit it only 3 or 4 times on the ground. Boom, 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 4 or 5 times. And Elisha was very upset and angry with him. And Elisha said to him that you should have hit it too many times on the ground. And Elisha didn't do that. The king from the north from Samaria did not do that. And so Elisha was upset. He said, the king of Aram, who's coming against you, the king from Iraq, he said, who's coming against you, you will defeat him, but not permanently. You'll only defeat him once, but then he'll come back at you again, and then technically was basically telling him that you will be defeated in the future. He said, what stupid man? He said, you're a stupid man, stupid king. He said, you should have done it many times, and the king didn't do that. And so therefore this is why the king was later, actually the king did defeat the Aramean king. The Sumerian king of the north did defeat the army that came out of Iraq at that time, but later he was defeated. That is exactly what Elisha had prophesied would take place. Now, apart from that, there's another instance. That the arrows are mentioned, and they are mentioned in the book of Ezekiel, in chapters 21 to verses 21. It says, for the king of Babylon stands at the parting of the ways, at the head of the two ways, to use divination. He shakes the arrows, he consults the household idols, he looks at the liver, and in the right hand came the divination of Jerusalem to set battering rams against it, etc. Kind of gives it a little bit, it gives you a little bit idea of how the ancient kings used certain instruments to decide where to go for or what to do next. Now remember, at this point, that you got to understand that here, I mean, to the Western world, this is like these texts are lost to the Western world because they don't know what the heck is going on over here. To them, right, this is mumbo jumbo magic. But actually, in the Eastern world, we understand that this wasn't just mumbo jumbo. This was actually a way to ask the universe and ask the gods that they served which way to go. And by the way, they got answers on this. Yep, they were given answers, and they did what the answers came. And so, unless the God of Israel intervened and allowed them to receive bad answers, they were actually given true answers. And you can find that in the book of Genesis, where Laban had also asked the household idols. Now they say idols. I would say the idols is the wrong word to use. These are called teraphim. Teraphim are not idols. Teraphim are simply your ancestors. This is a custom in some tribes where they kept small statues of their ancestors. Could be the grandfather, could be the grandmother, could be somebody else. And they would then go to them, and they would speak to them and ask them to direct them which way to go, or could say, where shall I go, or where is such and such thing. And we are told in the book of Genesis that Jacob was being pursued by his father-in-law, and the father-in-law knew exactly where Jacob was heading, and he found him, and he got to him, and he stopped him in the way. Well, how did he do that? Because he had consulted with the little statues. This is why I said the word idol is wrong to use. It's not idol worship. These were little statues that these people went to inquire through, and the inquiry was made, and the answer was given, and then the answer was received and then attended to. So he said the book of Genesis doesn't tell you it's good or bad. It just tells you that he did that, and he found Jacob where he was. Now, of course, there's only one infinite source. There are not 15 infinite sources. If there's only one infinite source, what we call the universal source, well, that is what we know as God. And the problem is this, that a lot of the times, yes, it could be, Eddie saying, is this like the ancestor honoring the China and other areas of these? That's correct. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's not idolatry, and it's not idol worship. This is a kind of a stupid Western notion of idolatry. It's not idolatry. It's not considered idolatry to do that. You can have your uncle's picture. Today, in the Western world, everybody has a picture of their mother, their father hanging up on the wall that's dead, and they go and they pay homage to them. They say, oh, my mother, I miss you, and oh, my father, I miss you. Well, why isn't that classified as idolatry? It's not. So the same way, these ancient people, they held small statues of their ancestors, which is, today, what is an image? Image today, a picture is made, an image. An image today is from a camera, you make it into a picture, a photo, you stick it up on your wall. I personally wouldn't recommend, I'm not talking about idolatry. I personally would not recommend putting pictures of dead relatives up. However, if this is something that comforts you, then you can do that. If it comforts you, you can do that. However, I wouldn't do it because it brings it would bring the spirits meaning the spirits of those people into your home. And sometimes people say that they have they are followed by spirits, or that they are getting dreams from spirits. And so it is energy. That's correct, Rabbi Kefa. This is energy, and it could be negative energy. And I'm not saying that if your mother has died or father has died, it's a negative energy from them. But it could be that you put up your dead uncle's picture, and your dead uncle's negative energy follows you around. It could be that. So I would definitely advise against such practices. If you want to put up living pictures meaning people who are alive, you got married to your wife and you took your picture at your wedding, you want to put it up, great, put it up. But if your mother died 30 years ago, put up a picture, don't do that. My mother died, I don't know, I think it's about 30 years ago my mother died. We have never put up a picture in our house to this day. It's not a practice that we do. At least, none of my brother's houses has that picture in their homes. We don't do it. I don't know about my sisters. As far as I remember, I didn't see a picture of my mother there either. But like I said, that it's not a common practice within our tribal lineage to do that. And so maybe in other families, I know in families of Americans, some of the American families, I heard that they carry dust around of their dead relatives on their neck in a necklace. I think that's a very, very bad practice. Should not be done. It's very unwholesome, and it brings in very unclean energy. Should not be done. Should be prohibited from wearing necklaces of cremations, dust or whatever it is that you do. Because in India, when they cremate their relatives, they don't carry their dust around. Usually they just let the dust go into the river Ganges. The dust goes into there, and that's the end of that. Sometimes they would keep the dust of their relative only if they were looking for some kind of justice. If somebody died in an unnecessary or in a maybe a bad way, and they would keep that then for justice, basically. Justice meaning that they would say, well, until my relative gets justice, I'm not going to put the dust into the river, something to that effect. So they keep that dead relative's dust in a little pot or whatever. But otherwise, what I'm saying is that that's something that they do over there. My advice is don't do it over here. Don't do that. Don't keep anything of a dead relative, because one, it's keeping anything of a dead person brings unclean energy, negative energy into your house, and you don't want that, because that will affect your positive energy and energy of abundance. It will affect that. So if you got the habit of putting up dead relative pictures, don't do that. Jewelry is fine. Jewelry is fine because that's something that people do. They pass on jewelry from mother to daughter. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the jewelry should be cleaned up. Now there is a method, because the jewelry carries energy as well. But there is a method to clean up the jewelry so that there is no negative energy attached to it. The grounding that I taught you, you can do the grounding on the jewelry, and the jewelry will be cleaned up. It'll become clean energy. So that should be no problem at all. Otherwise, you should not. Otherwise, I mean, any jewelry must be grounded. It must be grounded if it comes from a relative that is deceased. Now, the other thing I would mention is I talked about the arrows, and I stopped there. I was going to lead the discussion a little bit further as to why the arrows and what do we do with this information and how can this information help me and you. See, there are certain secrets that we keep, and there are certain things that we do, but we don't go telling everybody about it. We don't advertise it because again, this is something I'm not going to advertise. I'm not going to tell you here. If those of you want to know how we can utilize this information, then you can contact me through phone. You can write to me, and I can respond back on that. But I'm not going to tell you in public forum what we do with this information. So that's where that stops. And I did actually this week pass some information to a student of mine in the East, what he can do to benefit his life. Other than that, let me see. Yes, Rabbi Kefa, I just remembered about the subliminal program. Now, there is a subliminal program that I really, really highly recommend. Now, remember, I was recommending to you a program called Subliminal Guru website, subliminalguru.com. It's a British website, and I highly recommend that because it sells subliminals that are all different types, you know, from finance to health issues to everything. And I highly recommend that versus the other one that I originally asked you to look at, which was the, if you remember, there was, what was that website called? I'm trying to think of the website. Equisync. Now, Equisync was a little bit on the upside. You had to circulate more money. But these subliminals that I found in the Carl Moore's group, you know, his shop, they actually are much better, and they're only 10 minutes long. They're tad short of 10 minutes. They are just brilliant. This is absolutely fantastic. So I would highly recommend that you go over to subliminalguru.com and look at these subliminals. Whatever areas of your life you want to benefit, I highly recommend you look at it. That's number one. Number two, Rabbi Kefa, I had instructed him this week to get a subliminal called Subliminal 360. Now, Subliminal 360, I think it's on I don't know if I have a link to my website on that yet. I probably will put it up later. I don't have a link yet. But I highly recommend it because I purchased this to test it out, and I read a lot of good reports on it. One particular person had put a report on it that he was having problems with insomnia and negativity and in terms of negative energy, and he bought that subliminal. That subliminal allows you to put your own affirmations on your laptop screen, whether Mac or whether laptop, and then it flashes on your screen, and you can predefine where it flashes on your screen. I actually sent some feedback to the subliminal people in London, saying that you need to modify their software to you know, do certain other things that it wasn't doing. And they kind of came back to me and said, yeah, thanks for letting us know. We'll pass it to our development department. So having said that, but what I liked about the software, it flashes a message, affirmation in front of your screen. Now, this software is very powerful, and it doesn't just flash a message. It can flash pictures. You know, you want a picture of a car, you want to buy a car, you know, you could add that picture into the software. It will flash that picture at your screen, and you could have a little bit text on there saying, this is my car, or you know, my car, or something to that effect. And then it also can, your affirmations that you are doing daily, you know, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am whole, you know, I am complete. Whatever affirmations that you're doing, you can actually add those into there, and they already have, I don't know, it's my goodness, it's hundreds of thousands, 85,000 or something affirmations pre-built, and you can just select a program. Within the program, there are affirmations that you can select that you want. Like, for instance, somebody who's a bad cook, you know, they have affirmations for a good cook. So you could go there and select, you're going to be a great cook and all that, and they have all these affirmations are lined up. And they're saying that you can select those 6 at a time, and you can play them, and they flash on your screen every few seconds. Boom, they come on your screen, and you get to see them. And you can have them in different texts, different flavors. So, you know, sometimes they're not so visible, sometimes they're very visible. and they affect your mind. They program you daily. And I think to the effect of 27,000 times a day or something. My goodness. Imagine, right, you've been told something 27,000 times that your subconscious picks up on the screen. And, because we pick up everything that goes around us. We're going outside to, I don't know, Walmart, and, we see 15 posters along the way, and our subconscious picks it up. Whatever information is there, our bodies, our systems utilize that information. So I was thinking that this program is great because it can program you to positive things, to great things, to whatever your desires are, and you can have this flash at you when you're sitting at your PC, browsing the net or doing your little thing and checking your emails or whatever. This could be flashing in a corner of the screen or somewhere, and then that kind of programs your mind as well. So you may want to look at that. Rabbi Kefa has actually purchased the program. Some of you who cannot afford to circulate $147, because it is $147 a piece, if you cannot afford to circulate that money, then speak with Rabbi Kefa. Maybe he can help you, assist you with that, and maybe something can be worked out between you and him. Again, contact him directly for that. His email address is kefabinya@yahoo.com. I believe it's Kefa. If you want to type that in, Rabbi Kefa, so they can have your email address, kefabinya@yahoo.com. If I can type it in, there it is. Thanks for that. So yeah, so contact Kefa for that directly, and he has his telephone number on our website. You can call him, I guess, and you can have a chat with him and decide what you can do between him and you. And the thing is this, that but I highly recommend this program, because I really see good things coming out of this for yourselves, particularly because it can train you to certain things. Like for instance, it doesn't necessarily have to be financial. It could be it could be spiritual, it could be relationship wise, it could be others. So these are great. So Kefa saying he only has 2 slots. First come, first serve. Only 2 slots, so whoever phones him, whoever the 2 people phone him, he can assist them. Otherwise, he doesn't have more than 2 slots. So have a chat with him. I was thinking that along the lines of, I released my earlier book called The Law of Attraction versus a Perfect Law, Default Mode for Humanity. I was thinking along that book that several questions have arisen since that time. And there's a lot more information that I could not put in the book, because I didn't want it to make the book thick. I wanted to keep it light. So I'm thinking that maybe there's going to need to be another book, which is going to be even more succinct than that one, and talk about alignment, and talk about manifestation techniques, and talk about progress, and how to bring things to pass. Because you could be doing something for years, and you could be asking for something, it could take years to come, or you could be asking for something it comes very quickly, within a year. So that's the difference between how you can bring something into your life faster or slower. Now, again, we use the principles in the Bible to help people and to bring them to pass. Now, I spoke about meditation. And my reasons for meditation, as you know, were obvious, to help everybody to understand meditation so they can use it daily. And I guess, people ask questions because, naive people out there, and I say naive, with the how shall I say it? I say it in respect. But I call them naive and stupid both, because these are naive and stupid people who say, well, where's the scripture? And I will not teach you something if I didn't have that information in my hand, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. So, but I will give you a scripture for this today, and this is probably the only one I'm going to give you. And this is a scripture that I'm giving you. It comes from the book of Genesis, chapters 24, verse 63, and it says, Isaac went out to meditate in the field. Okay, so this is where Isaac went out and sat outside in the open environment and was meditating exactly like I taught you. So this comes directly from our ancestors. What you've been taught is coming out of our ancestors. And like I said, there's many things that we do, and there's many things we don't talk about. Because people want to get stuck into religions, well, let them have religion. There's plenty of churches selling religion. And we don't have time over here to sell you religion, because I just really don't have time to, do this buffoonery of religion where people are just being bamboozled and lied to and, kept in chains, bondages, the spiritual bondage. They never get anywhere from A to B. To me, that is religion. And I don't believe in that. I don't teach that. If you want to be free, if you want to be happy, if you want to live a prosperous life, then you talk to me. But if you want a religion, then you go talk to your Baptist minister, or you go talk to your Methodist minister, and they will sell you religion. And you can stay with them, and you can do your jingles with them, and Christmas and everything, and fine. So that's okay. I've got no problem with that. So this is why our Parsha is related to the purpose of the Kohanim was to benefit the people of Israel, and I consider all those people who come and be part of this group. There's no particular formal membership, but I have students all over the world, and if you are my student in any particular shape, form, then I will assist you in being the best person you can be in your life. If I can assist you to get your degree, if I can assist you to become a millionaire, if I can assist you to be healthy and whole, then my purpose is met on this earth. Then I believe my purpose is met, and I've done what I'm supposed to do as the Kohen of Israel. So this is why it's important to understand that we do not hark on about religion over here. There are principles here that we teach that come down from our books, Old Testament and New Testament. They come from those. And there's one particular one that Christians, they kind of tout over, and they love to quote, but they have little understanding of what it actually means. In the book of John, Jesus said in John 14:6, you'll hear this from Christians, but Christians are clueless. Next time a Christian man or woman quotes this to you, ask them what it means. And the meaning they'll give you will be totally flawed and false. Totally in error. So they'll give you a meaning which is in total 100% error. And I can guarantee you, I can ask the churches in Pensacola, Florida, full of churches, I can ask the churches up and down in Brownsville, and they'll give me the same meaning, and it'll always be wrong. And here is the scripture. Jesus, Yeshua answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And then another one, like it, Matthew 6:33, but seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Now, if you look at this scripture, they will tell you, hey, come to Jesus. He will give you salvation. He will save your soul. Well, what good is my soul being saved if I live a life of misery on this earth? What good is my soul going to be saved to me if I'm going to live the next 50 years of my life in misery? Years ago, I met a Catholic woman. Years ago, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago, I met a Catholic woman. And the Catholic woman, I said to the Catholic woman, this is a good woman, she's from a very high up family, good family, educated woman. And I met her in London, and I said to her, she said to me, well, why did you leave Islam? And I said, because I have the truth where I am right now. That's why I left Islam, and so should you. And so she said to me that I've been a Catholic 50 years of my life. Why should I leave Catholicism? Why would I want to leave Catholicism? She wasn't really a heavy practicing Catholic. She's kind of more kind of liberal, I guess somewhat liberal. And so I said to her, because if you knew that there was truth in this, and you were able to be benefit from it, would you change? And she said, and she went quiet. She didn't say anything. But you know what? She did change. I told her to change, and she changed. And this is a woman who was a Catholic for 50 years. So having said that, if you find that something can change your life, why wouldn't you change? If it changes your life, if it changes your health, it changes your wealth, why wouldn't you change? Of course you would change. You would change at a heartbeat. So this is where Jesus' word, Jesus, Yeshua, the Master, Yahushua, or you call him Jesus, you call him Yesu, you call him Jeshua, it doesn't matter, by how you phrase his title, his name. But if you follow him, then these verses do not mean that, hey, take my name and the Father's going to save you. It does not mean that. That's just total ignorant translation of whatever ministers made it in the past, and everybody else has followed that suit. Really, when the Master Yeshua, and we can look at it, I'm going to open the Abrahamic Faith Bible itself, the Hebraic Nazarene Study Bible. Let me open it and let me actually go there and pick up the context, and then maybe I can put some information around it for you to see what is being said and why and how we are to use this information. So I have the Bible here. Give me a moment. I'm going to open it up to that particular passage, John 14:6. Let's see. Let me go there. Let me find it. Come on, PC. Come on, laptop. Make a move. Okay, let's see. So in the book of Matthew, Mark, John. Okay, here we go. John 14. John 14:6. So we go a little bit back, and we're going to go 14 verse 1. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in Yahweh, believe in me also. In my Abba's bait are many staying places. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to make ready a place for you. If I go and make ready a place for you, I will return and receive ye to myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. Thomas said to him, Master, Adonai, Lord, we know not where you go, and how can we know the way? Yehoshua said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Abba but through me. If you had known me, you should have known my Abba also. And from henceforth you know him and have seen him. What a profound message. And then Philip said to him in verse 8, Master, show us the Abba, and it is sufficient for us. Yehoshua said to him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet have you not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Abba. And how do you say then, show us the Abba? You see, even the disciples were ignorant of what the Master Yehoshua was telling them. Even they were ignorant, and they were stuck in their stupid little Judaism, their little synagogues, and they were going there, doing their daily recitations, their daily readings of Torah, yet these people were following under ignorant teachings of rabbis that did not lift them up, that did not teach them how to live a prosperous and beautiful life. So when the Master comes, this is why he says to them, Have I not been with you so long, and yet you still ask me this question? Because they did not understand. If they had understood, they wouldn't say that. And he says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Well, let's look at what it actually means. So, what is within this? Within this, we have one thing. And I'm going to show you two important chakras, two important body centers within what Jesus spoke about, Jesus' teachings. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Okay, that's the first one that he spoke about. What does that mean? It means that Yeshua, the Godhead, Yeshua being the Godhead, part of the Godhead, Yeshua lives within us. Because that is what the translation or the Matthew 6:33 connects with it, which says, Seek first His kingdom. Where is the kingdom? The Master said it's within you. Where is the within you? It's within your head. It's your subconscious that connects to the kingdom above. And he says that I am the way, the truth, and the life. Where is the Master? Where is the Son of God? The Son of God is within that kingdom, and He connects to the Father. That's what he was talking about when he said to Philip, Have I not with you so long, and you don't know the Father? If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. If we have access to the Son of God within us, then we have access to the Father in the heaven. In other words, infinite source is within us. We can access the infinite source through us, in us. And so, this is why when Jesus said, Love the Lord your God, love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, He was actually talking about the 7 centers of the body, 7 main centers, 7 chakras. With all your mind, it says with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your heart. These are the 7 chakras, by the way, that he was referencing. And he says, this is the first and the greatest commandment, and the second like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. And all the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. The heart chakra and the crown chakra. These are the 2 centers that he was referencing at that point, apart from the other centers, of course. Why? Because what is the soul of the body? What is the soul? The soul embodies the whole body. So if the soul embodies the whole body, then that is the 7 chakras, including the minor chakras. What about the mind? Well, the mind is a crown chakra, the crown center, where the top of the body, which is your crown, where the information descends and ascends to the heavens. So from here we call on to God, from here we call on to the Master Yeshua, and Yeshua has access to the throne room. So this is basically simple mechanics. But we can make it harder than that. We can turn into something gibberish. We can say, oh, salvation is this, is that, and the third. So, and that kind of leads you all astray, and suddenly it becomes just spiritual, and there's nothing related to it in the physical world. But it is actually very physical, and it allows us to connect spiritually into the spiritual world. In other words, that if you have access to the Master, Jesus, the Son of God, then you have access to the Father in the heaven as well. Because you're connecting to infinite source. What is infinite source? Infinite source is the Father. Because everything comes from the Father. And so Yeshua, Jesus said, I come from the Father. But if he comes from the Father, then he connects to infinite source. And therefore, he is the same substance, right? He is the same substance if he connects to infinite source. Hence why, when we connect to the Son, we connect to the Father. Hence why that John 14:6 makes perfect sense when you read it like that. If you read it any other way, it will make no sense whatsoever. It will be a completely senseless verse. But it only makes sense like this, that he is the infinite, we are connecting to infinite source through the Son. The Son of God is intimately connected with the Father in heaven. Because he said the Father is greater than me. Hence why we connect to infinite source. That is correct, Eddie. This is why he is known as the Son of God. Because Eddie is saying because Adam and man in general are also sons of God. That's correct. Adam and man in general are sons of God in a general sense, humanity-wise. But Yeshua is the Son of God in a more intimate sense. He is close to and directly in cahoots with infinite source. Infinite source meaning the source of all life, the Father in heaven. Now the Father in heaven, of course, I wrote about this and I spoke about it, and the 7 spirits of God, the 7 feminine spirits, the eighth feminine spirit is Im Chochmah herself. That is the 8th feminine spirit. We know her as Im Chochmah, Mother Wisdom, divine wisdom of God, and that is the other source that we connect to as well. Now you can utilize that, but again, these things we don't speak about publicly because there are a lot of people out there that are just looking to take any information and slander you and call you bad names and so on and so forth. So that's all they do. That's how their life is spent, in misery and just chasing after tails. But we don't do that. Hence why I keep certain information reserved and only give to my personal students who come to me, who can acquire it from me firsthand, and I tell them what they need to do and how to use it, because then they can benefit their lives and their well-beings and their personal lives. And a lot of my students out there are very prosperous, they're very happy people, and they're very, very happy that they have such a person as myself as their guide and teacher. So having said that, there's a lot of things we can do that will be helpful, that will be beneficial, but sometimes due to the nature of our public recordings, everything cannot be put out publicly because people out there cannot handle this kind of information. And a lot of people will call this magic, and they will call it by other names. And I don't like to, I do not like the name of God to be profaned by these kind of people who are gonna technically profane the name of God. So I don't put everything out there for that very reason. So coming back to our Parsha in the Bible, as we were seeing, let me actually pick up the Parsha and see if there's anything else we can glean from this, and there probably is a lot we can glean from it, because in Leviticus chapters 21, and I want to have a quick little look at it, in the Abrahamic Faith Nazarene Hebraic Study Bibles. So give me a moment, I'm going to take you to there, and we can probably glean some more information from it. Now it says in verses 5, they shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the pearls of their beard, nor make any incisions in their flesh. They shall be holy to their Elohim, and not profane the name of their Elohim. For the offerings of Yahweh made by fire, and lachem of the Elohim they do offer, therefore they shall be holy. They shall not take a wife that is a whore, or profane, neither shall they take a woman divorced from her husband, for he is holy to his Elohim. You shall sanctify him therefore, for he offers the lachem of your power. He shall be holy to you, for I, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, which sanctify you, am holy. And the daughter of any Kohen, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she has profaned her father, and she shall be burnt with fire. And he that is a Kohen Hagadol, high priest, among his brethren, upon whose head the anointing oil was poured, and that is consecrated to put on the garments, shall not uncover his head, nor rend his clothes, or tear his clothes. Neither shall he go into any dead body, nor defile himself for his father or for his mother. Neither shall he go out of the sanctuary, nor profane the sanctuary of his Elohim, for the crown of the anointing oil of his Elohim is upon him. I am Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, I'm Yahweh. Now this is very important. Remember, the oil was poured on the crown chakra, on the head. Now this is probably missed by many people out there. Did you notice that when the oil is poured on a priest or on a king, always on the crown chakra? Now you can go and guess why. So it says, and he shall take a wife in her virginity, a widow or a divorced woman, or profane or a harlot. These shall not he take, but he shall take a virgin of his own people to wife. Neither shall he profane his seed among his people, for I Yahweh do sanctify him. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to Aaron, saying, whosoever he be of your descendants in their generations that has any blemish, let him not approach to offer lachem of his Elohim. For whatsoever man he be that has a blemish, he shall not approach a blind man or a lame, or that he has a split nose or anything superfluous. In other words, we were not supposed to mutilate ourselves in any particular way. It wasn't permitted to do that. If we did deliberately mutilate ourselves, we were told we were not then able to minister to our God. And it says, and then it speaks about a man having a broken foot, broken hand, etc., etc. And then it goes on, and then we finish that chapter, and later, chapter 22, it says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to Aaron and to his sons, that they separate themselves from the holy things of the children of Israel, that they profane not my holy name, in those things which they hallow to me. I am Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. See, this is why I said to you earlier, I'm not going to go around profaning the name of God by listing information publicly which is holy to us, set apart to us, it's important information to us. We don't go around profaning. We don't go around telling everybody and making a joke and a laugh about it, so that we technically end up profaning the name of God by doing that, because of some person out there who lacks understanding will make some comments, and all that will happen is that the comments will come back to him and destroy his life. But rather than destroy lives, we are here to preserve life. So sometimes it's better not to give everything out openly. Certain information then has to be reserved for use, at a private consultation, instead of openly giving it to everybody, it doesn't work, because it could be detrimental to the person who is doing whatever negative things they're doing. They only affect their life by doing that. Hence why we try not to I give you information freely, what information can be given freely, but some information then is reserved which shouldn't be given freely. Now what I will advise you to do is this, which might be beneficial for a lot of you, and it's easy accessible, and I suggest you do this to your benefit, is you can get these little burners from Walmart. I mean, I picked one up from Walmart, and they're easily accessible. You can get these burners from Walmart, and these are like burners in which you can burn some incense. Now the incense I want you to purchase, and you should be able to find this at Walmart as well, and it's called the myrrh incense. They come as little cubes or little cones, and what you can do is daily in your rituals, in your daily practice in the morning, when you're doing your daily meditations, I want you to burn one of these cones on this little burner. So make that a daily practice, and you should be able to use that. And there is more to it than just burning the incense, but I guess that would be a good start for you to just burn the incense for now. So that will add something to it, and it is actually for prosperity, and it will help you, and it will help your meditation and concentration more as well. So one suggestion that I can give you is to buy that and burn a cone every day. When I say the remainder of your life, obviously if you're not traveling, then you should be able to do it in your homes. And if you travel, then of course you may make it difficult to do it. But I would suggest that if you travel, take the cones with you, and maybe you have a travel style burner or something, because you can buy those flat burners, the flat copper based ones, in which you can just stick them up. You can put them in your suitcase. They're really flat, they're not that big, and you can just put them on one side and carry the cones with you. You could even do them when you're traveling as well. I highly suggest it, I highly recommend it. And there's another ritual that I like to perform with it, but I will not tell you this publicly either. Sorry, I can't tell you publicly. That has to be also kept within my students privately. So just for this information is that I will tell you to do the incense to benefit yourselves in your daily meditation. When you do your daily grounding exercise or your daily healing exercise, you can then use that to benefit yourselves. It will add a nice aroma into the room and other things. Now we as a priesthood did incense a lot, and when we did our incense and we did our what you today might call essential oils, we had our anointing oil that was only permitted for the Kohanim to make, and nobody else was allowed to make that. I mean, today in Israel, you go to Israel or you go to these Jewish websites, you're going to find them selling anointing oil. They claim that it's the same one. They're not supposed to make it, actually. Think about that for a second. But then they are selling it as claiming it's the same oil, although it's not permitted to be made. However, we don't make that oil. I do know the ingredients of that oil. Yes, Rabbi Kefa, I will tell them that too, the lilac flower. So I would also suggest to you that, by the way, one of the key ingredients in the anointing oil of the priesthood was cannabis. So now you go figure out, should you make it or should you not make it? So having said that, the lilac flower. Now I really like the lilac flower. I mean, it's kind of growing over here all over the place, left, right and center. And this is one of the flowers I would recommend you to make for yourselves. When I say make, I mean grow it in your backyard if you can. If you can't, you probably find it all over the place in the US. Lilacs are very good. They have beautiful scent. You can buy essential oil, lilac oil as well. Beautiful smelling oil, really nice smell. I love it. I really like it. And lilac has it has a lot of benefits that we use it in our herbal therapy, and I wanted to go through a few of them is that lilac itself can be, you can use it to treat kidney disease. I don't know, somebody mentioned to me that they had kidney disease, kidney problems, and lilac can be used in that. Lilac essential oil can be used to reduce your fever. It can be used to treat kidney disease. It can be used to treat a lot of illnesses. It's a plant that is readily grown all over the place in the US, in Europe, and probably in the East as well. But it can also be used for intestinal worms. So lilac essential oil is also effective for purging your body of intestinal worms and parasites. So you could use it for antifungal properties on your skin, and you can to use it on your body to lower the risk of fungal infections. It's actually it's a really good stuff that you can use. And one of the things that you can use lilac for is treating skin problems such as rashes, burns. You can rub the oil on there, and it can treat sunburn. It can treat insect bites and things of that nature as well. It's very antibacterial. It can be used for antibacterial effects also. Now, one of the things that women might really like about lilac's essential oil is those of you who want to remove your wrinkles, it's actually very good to tighten your skin. So you can rub it on your skin. You can add some oil to it, some other oil, carrier oil if you like. You can rub it on your face, rub it on your skin. It will tighten up your skin. So this is a very inexpensive method to bring youth to yourselves. Those of you spend $70 for a cream out there. It has very good anti-aging properties. Rabbi Kefa was telling me that his wife uses it for anti-aging properties, and she looks nothing like her age. Yeah, Rabbi Kefa, she looks like a teenager. I could probably buy that. Yes, she does look like she looks very young for her age, from what I have seen in the pictures. So it's definitely something that you may want to consider. Those of you who are struggling with any illnesses, skin diseases, other illnesses, make a lilac tea. I had it the other day as a tester. I wanted to test it, what the taste was like. It's pretty good taste. I actually, when I had the tea, I added some maple syrup into it. But your mileage may vary. You may want to put maple syrup, or maybe you want to put honey, or maybe you want to use something else. Up to you. Definitely a great little tea, very, very good for you. It's a very good antioxidant tea, and I mean, all you got to do is grab some from your yard. that's all you got to do. So you can readily save these flowers. You can you can store them and dry them and use them for teas later, and you can buy the essential oil. So it's very easily accessible. Jacob is asking, Hakohen, isn't it okay to burn incense on the Shabbat, or should we wait till sunset? No, you can burn incense on the Shabbat, no problems about it. We did in the temple, we burned it all the time. So absolutely no problem about burning incense on the Shabbat. So whereas remember we already spoke about that these prohibitions that came are more or less rabbinic prohibitions. They are not Torah prohibitions. So there's a whole new difference, because unfortunately, for better or for worse, Torah is not really practiced by the majority of the people in the world. That includes Jews today, by the way. They do not practice Torah. They practice Rabbinic Judaism. Rabbinic Judaism is an invention of Yochanan ben Zakkai. Modern Rabbinic Judaism is an invention of Yochanan ben Zakkai, whose grave you can find in Israel in the north, because I went there as well to see it and pay homage. So you can find it there. And that's the person who invented modern Judaism. Modern Judaism is nothing of Torah Judaism. Torah Judaism is totally different. And Torah Judaism has things that modern Judaism will probably consider, well, I don't think they consider it wrong, but they just don't do it. Okay? Christianity will probably consider that idolatry in some form, because Christianity lacks that understanding of modern Judaism. Modern Judaism resembles, let me say what modern Judaism, ancient Judaism. Ancient Judaism resembles practices of Hinduism. That's what ancient Judaism does. So majority of the people in the world don't know about it, let alone practice it. We do. We practice it at the Forever Israel, and I have students in the world who practice it. In India, in Pakistan, in China, maybe in Korea, they practice it. But again, like I said, it's few and far between. Whereas the people practicing modern Judaism, well, we can see how fulfilled they are. Just look at their faces. So you get the answer for that. So having said that, there are things that we can do that ancient Judaism teaches us in the Torah that are, my goodness, that are extremely beneficial practices. But because of the lack of teachers that have that understanding and the lack of instructions, it's just not available to most people. It's just not available. And maybe some communities, in the Far East, in the East, in Arab world, some communities practice it. I'm pretty sure that the Jews who live in Iran, they probably practice forms of ancient Judaism opposed to modern Judaism. Pretty sure of that. And I'm pretty sure that in India they practice ancient Judaism, not modern Judaism. So there are extreme differences between the two. Having said that, I think that the Kohanim, they basically went into the East. Majority of them live in the East. And that's where they ended up, in Persia. And from Persia to India and Pakistan and Afghanistan, all those nations are where they ended up. So hence why, isn't it surprising that Afghanistan was never won by any nation? Think about it for a second. Why wasn't Afghanistan ever won by a nation for more than a short period of time? Because the tribes of Judah are there, the tribes of the Levite tribes are in those regions of the world, and they are mixed in, they are mingled, they are mixed in with other people. And because they are mixed in, then of course even though, as they say, they may not be practicing 100% Torah, but they are still there, and so their presence still makes the difference of the power. No, they did not stray far from the temple. Temple. I guess the temple practices, I would say. So the practices are still there. So having said that, stick to the practices. Stick to the practices that you can get the benefit of the things that you do. Now, of course, I would highly recommend those of you who haven't purchased my book to purchase my book, so you can go through some of the practices that will help you to benefit yourselves extremely in your lives. I tell you things that will benefit you, things that will help you, things that will make your families great. And our president wants to make America great, but in order for America to be great, our families need to be great that live in America. So if our families are great, then America is great as well. So it's kind of the rippling effect of our families in all, because what makes America great? Great families in America. That's what makes America great. So that is great. And with that, I think I'm gonna leave it at this point. And I think there may be I'm looking at this other information that I can give you. No, I'm not gonna say anything more. I'm gonna pass the buck over to Rabbi Kefa, and so get your burner from Walmart and start burning the myrrh, because myrrh is a very important component of our ancient history, and it's actually a very beneficial herb to burn. And actually there was one more thing before I give it to Rabbi Kefa. There's one more thing I'd encourage you to get. It's called the Moldavite stone. Now the Moldavite stone is I don't know how easy it is to get over here. You're gonna have to circulate a little bit money for this, because I find some of these stores that are selling Moldavite are very expensive. Small stone, very, very expensive. Carbon C6 is another one, oil carbon C6. But get the Moldavite stone. It's a very high vibration stone, and it's one that you want to carry with you if you can. Maybe in your wallet, purse, and maybe keep it close by. And it's supposed to be really, really good. It's a green stone. It's a green color, and it will affect the energy of your heart. It will connect to your heart chakra. Okay, so look up Moldavite stone and read up about it, and you will get to understand what Moldavite is. And you can read up about carbon C6 as well. So with that, I'll let Rabbi Kefa take over. Todah, have a great Shabbat, great week ahead. Todah, Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to you.
Yeah, Chadasha, if I can be heard, can I get a 1? Again, more brilliant instruction, more awesome instruction is going to be beneficial to you going forward as you continue to find yourselves. Just an update on the subliminal 360. Hakohin stated the price. I don't know. I posted the link. If you all go to the link, I don't know how long they're going to do this, but there is a code that you can put in, a discount code, to where you don't have to pay the $147. Baruch Hashem, you actually get $50 off. So some of you might want to hop on that. Don't procrastinate, because I don't know how long it's going to be there. Some of you might want to hop on that after Shabbat and circulate and truly invest. And I'll tell you, this investment will, I mean, to me, it's a priceless investment, because what it's doing is and this is what needs to happen. And I know a lot of you understand this as well. Some of you may be listening via MP3 as well on YouTube. Is that, there has to be a total mind change. Your thought is a mind shift. You've been conditioned away for so long. So now you need these proper tools that are going to help you, totally radically change the way your mind thinks, and you taking control of your mind instead of your mind having control of you. How many of you know what I'm talking about? So there's tools that you need, that you're going to need, that's going to facilitate, that's going to really help you do that. Because believe me, the mind is not going down without a fight. How many of you know what I'm talking about? The mind is not going to go down without a fight. And so you're going to need these proper tools that's going to help you. I mean, when you're seeing something in front of your face, I mean, advertisers are smart. They put these billboards up on the side of highways. I mean, I'm seeing these highway billboards. How many of you literally work around a computer to where, or you sit at a computer for a long, put up a capital C if that's you, to where you actually, this will benefit you because you actually sit around a computer majority of the time. Great. So this will be truly beneficial for you. You plug this software in, and Hakoin Tada again for directing me to circulate this software, because I tell you, I saw I like to read the reviews as well, but I saw the great explanation, a great example, and a great instruction that they give you. Just go to the website. It's Subliminal 360, and review it, and see if this is for you. But I'm telling you, I mean, we're not getting any kind of kickbacks for doing this, but I tell you, I would highly recommend this for you listening to YouTube as well, because what you need more than anything is a mind. You need to totally, radically change the way you've been thinking. You need to take control of your mind and see it as the wonderful tool that it is. Your mind is a brilliant tool. Your mind, it's just that it's been dominated. It's been dominated. The mind is taking control over you. And Subliminal 360. Google it. You'll see it. They'll help you. If you kind of spell it crazy, Google will even help you with that and put you on the right track. You know how Google does? Do you mean to say this? Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Just spelled it wrong. So Google is a great assist maker as well, and a great helper. Just like all of you are great helpers. So make sure you get up on that 360. If you can't circulate, the $97 after they take off the $50, if that thing is still, I mean, it was still up there just a while ago because I just went to the site. So if you can't do that, one person has already contacted me for assistance as well. There's one more slot left to where we can I can really help decrease the amount as well on purchasing this unlimited, invaluable software that's going to help you and be beneficial to you. And so don't procrastinate. Be the early bird. It will always get the worm, and I think it's going to be I know it's going to be truly beneficial, and it's the gift that's going to keep on giving, not only to yourself, but this is something that you can pass on to your children and your children's children. It's going to really help them, and they're going to have 10 times a step up on their classmates and on their friends and on the people of their age, because they're not conditioned with. And I'll tell you, this is so important. This is so vital to where we are today, as that first generation that is coming back and understanding and coming back to I am. and coming back. I mean, all of you, I'm pretty sure there's not no second generation in here because, I mean, you know, you guys are definitely the ambassadors. You're on the forefront. And you guys are that first generation that is coming back. You know, the Israel that's coming back to the true Israel, the factual Israel on the ground. And it's not based on color, you know, it's not based on, family background, but it is based on your mental state of being. And that's very, very important that we do understand that. It is based on your mental state of being. I tell you, once you begin to revamp your mind and just totally do a reset on your mind, the sky is the limit. You know what? I'm gonna prove it to you. My daughter, she loves to play the piano. She's a great piano player. She's playing the piano at school, and she had a competition this past week. And before the competition, she came and she sat down because I always leave an open door policy where she can always come and find me and talk to me. We can talk. And Tadaka posted that, once again, subliminal360.com. You can't miss it, but those of you on YouTube, go get it. It's a great purchase. But it's all about proper mindset and really changing your mind for positivity and positive energy. Because my daughter doesn't have that. She's Chinese, and I mean, my goodness, you want to talk about robots. They're some of the biggest robots that you ever going to want to meet. They're so conditioned to a set, a way of doing things. And she's in her teen years, so she comes to me and goes, well, what can you tell me? I'm going to have this audition. What can you tell me? I'm having this audition with this competition, piano competition, playing. What can you tell me that's going to help me? And I told her, you know what I told her? I said, you're already a winner. You're a winner now. She's like, what? I said, you are already a winner now before the competition. So you're a winner now. Right now you're a winner. You don't have to have any kind of anxieties or any kind of worries or be nervous about anything. I said, you just go in there and do what you love. You go in there and do what you love and you'll be happy doing what you love. My goodness, she went in there, she comes back last night at dinner. We like to sit down at the table. My goodness, can you imagine that? Your whole family sitting down at the table having dinner together? Well, that's what's happening at the Kefa in Yahweh. Because, I didn't see that too often coming up, and I don't see that too often in other families today. So we were sitting around the table and we talked, and she said, you know what? And she said, Dad, guess what? She said, I got a ribbon today. I got first place in the piano competition. I said, I told you, you're already first place. I said, well, Hashem. I said, and you know what she said? She's already reprogrammed it. And, with my help, of course, and I say that humbly, but she's already reprogrammed it. She said, thank you, Dad. You know what she said? She said, thank you, God. Thank you, universe. I said, I tell you, I almost came to tears there for a minute, but because that was an awesome moment, because I see the fruit of my labor really, really, being manifested and attracted in a variety of ways, and that starts in my own family, and that's a beautiful thing. So we must do a reset of our mind, and we must see our mind for what it really is, because when you look at it, it's really kind of sad to behold, but the majority of the world are under mind control. And I know a lot of you do understand that. You see it with your family members, your friends, and their loved ones, is that they're dictated by their mind and their emotions. That's exactly what's happening. And they follow that process. And that's just totally a waste of a wonderful life, because they never connect back with their being, with their I am, with self. In the East, they like to call it self. But with that I am that's within them, with that God that is within them, because God is within us, and that's the state of affairs where a lot of people are, is that they really live a shell of a life. They never see the abundance of how life really is, because they never go back and take control of their mind and use the mind for the wonderful tool that it is. This is why it's so important that you do purchase this tool. You must get this tool, Subliminal 360. It'll really help reprogram your mind. Once you do the reset, what do you have to do with your computer? You have to reprogram it with all the information that you want to put back in it, right? Same way with you all. You all are better than supercomputers. Better than the most progressive AI, device that they have out there. You better than that. So you too need to reprogram. Once you go in and delete, once you go in and do a reset, a restart, guess what you have to do? You have to reprogram. You have to reprogram. That's a must. And this reprogramming, don't ever, and see, this is why I'm so grateful to the Kohen that he's giving it to you in baby steps. And I highly recommend to the Kohen that, this book that he put out, let him marinate on it for a while, because for these next steps ahead, because there's always going to be a progression. Is that you don't want to give them too much at one time. They're just babies. And so they need to complete some steps where they need to crawl before they can walk. And so it may take them some time. Look how long it took to give you this conditioning. So it's going to take time. It's going to be a process. You're going to have to go through some phases, so you can grow and you can develop and you can mature in your subconscious state. So you can begin to learn how to dwell and live in subconsciousness. And then your conscious will improve. Because now you're conscious, but now you have to learn to live in the subconscious. Because as I learned from this 360, as I learned from the subliminal 360, which one do you think is more important, consciousness or subconsciousness? Anybody? I just want your opinion. Where are you at right now? Give me your thoughts on that. What do you think is more important, being conscious or living in the conscious state, or living in the subconscious state, or living unconscious? Which one do you think is more important? Just like your response, by the way. I just like to see where you're at. Torah says subconscious, Adil says subconscious. Everybody says subconscious does before. And the response is subconscious, and you all are absolutely right. That's what's key. So now that you become conscious, now you have to deal with the subconscious, because, and see, this is what subliminal 360 is going to do. As all of you are stating in your affirmations, that you are conscious, you are present. But what's going to feed and facilitate you being present and you being conscious is what's in your subconscious. So if your subconscious is empty, or your subconscious is still not cleaned up, and you're still dealing with some viruses in there, if I can get technical on you for a bit, IT on you, if you're still dealing with some viruses in your subconscious, my goodness, what's going to happen to your conscious? What's going to happen to you being present? You may get little glimpses of presence and of being conscious, but it won't last. You see, I want to get to the point, my desire is to get to the point to where my abode is in the subconscious. Yes, I'm in this body, which is a flesh. You see, and that's what people, they sell themselves short on this earth. Is that they think they're just, they live in this body, and after this body, there's nothing. And that's one of the biggest, falsehoods that's out there, is that after this body is done, this fleshly, earthly body is finished, and that's the end of me and the end. And so their life consists of from conception, when they're born, to when they die. How many of you at one time had that kind of understanding? Yeah, my only existence is from when I'm born to when I die. Can anybody honestly say that was them at one point? Because that's the conditioning that we get, that we receive here in the West, is that, okay, you're born, your existence consists of when you're born to when you, and until when you die, and then after that, that's it. Well, there's more to it than that. It's deeper than that, Mishpah. You live on. You just live on in a different form, in a different state of being. And isn't that beautiful, Mishpah? But a lot of people don't understand it, and yet a lot of people don't want to hear this. This is why our Kohen is absolutely right, and I'm in total agreement with the Kohen, with the son of Aaron, is that you don't need to go around here telling this to everybody and advertising this stuff. You see? Your message says, no, I always knew that there was more. But that's great, your message. Well, guess what? You have found more. And then guess what? There's even more and more and more. But first, let's deal with the more where we are now. Let's handle that part of the more, because there's always going to be more. More and more and more and more. And it's only going to get sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and better and better and better and better. This is what we call infinite abundance. You're going to keep getting better and better. I hope I'm coming in. Adia's giving me a 2. You're going to keep getting better and better and better and better. More and more. And you're going to keep elevating and graduating and increasing in your level and your state of subconscious. Subliminal 360 is a great tool to help you begin to start to reset, reboot, and reprogram your mind. Take control back of your mind. That's so very vital. And yes, what we say is very important. How many of you have heard that words are very important? How many of you have heard that words are powerful? Well, guess what? Yes, that's true, but you need to take and look beyond the words now. You see, because words are just a facilitator. Words point, all words do is point you to something else. You see, words in themselves are not true, but words are facilitators that can point you to the truth and to the facts. Think about what I just said. It's a profound statement, but it's true. See, words are just a facilitator, and they point you to the truth. Words are not truth in themselves, but they give you direction, and they give you guidance, and they give you instruction to source energy. You see? Think about what I just said. Give you an example. You can sit here all day. I love honey. I like honey. Big fan of honey. Love the bees as well. Bee lover. Honey lover. But I can sit here and we can talk about honey up and down the block. We can talk about honey, its makeup, what its benefits and what it can do for you. And we can have discussions and debates on honey all day long. But it's until you taste the honey, and then even after you taste the honey, then you really have an understanding of honey, right? Because you taste it. Oh, let me ask you, please don't mention chocolate. Yeah, you can talk about chocolate too. You're dealing with Chocolate City over here. I love me some chocolate. I'm the Willy Wonka of the Hebrews. You can talk about chocolate all day. That's why I had to change it up to honey. Because then I might have to go and get me some chocolate. So it's important that we understand this. Is that, yeah, you can sit here and you can talk about, and then get this. Then after you partake of the honey, then you realize, okay, now I've tasted honey. I know what honey is. I know what honey tastes like. I know the benefits of honey. Now you can take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. You see, a lot of people are the same way when it comes to God. They say the word God. They say the word Jesus. It reminds me of the Poltergeist movies, or these movies with the priests and they're battling demonic forces and demonic energy. How many of you have seen these movies before? And the first thing that the priests will do is they'll hold up the cross and they'll say, Jesus' name, Jesus' name. And then you see, do you notice in these movies that the demons, that they just, you say the word Jesus and they just knock the cross out of his hand and end up killing the priest. I mean, you've seen this movie like that. Because, again, there's no, exorcist is another good one. They'll say, oh, Jesus, Jesus, Lord, Lord. All the demon does is come up to him, slap him in the face, knock him upside the head, kill him, or whatever. Because, again, you can sit here and talk about God all day long, and people do. I guess you can call that basically what? Rabbinic Judaism. Or Judaism. Let's just call it Judaism. That's all they do. Sit there and talk about God, 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 God. They sit there and talk about God all day long. Just like you talk about honey all day long. Have discussions, have debate about God all day long. But have these folks really even tasted the honey, haven't even tasted, and even had little experiences with the source energy, as they call them, God, Lord, whatever name you want to give them. Think about this for a minute. You see, because now I think it's very important that we understand one thing. If we don't understand anything, we need to understand one thing, is that with words, we must look beyond the word, or beyond words. And you must ask yourself this question: where does the word point to? Where are these words pointing to? Where are these words trying to take me? It's almost like you're driving down I-10, I-95, and, you see all these signposts, and you see, all these, billboards. You see this sign and say, okay, you want to go to Houston or I-10, you got I-10 east from where I'm located. So you look for these signs. These signs are telling you, okay, these words on the sign are saying, look, if you want to get to Houston, you must take I-10 east to get. But too many times people just focus on the sign. They look at the sign, oh, it's just this sign. I'm just going to look at this sign. I'm not going to go anymore. I'm just going to look at the sign. What I'm trying to help you understand is that these words, you must look beyond the words to find out where the word is taking you to. Where does the word point to? Is it pointing to nothingness, or is it pointing to it taking you to infinite abundance? And this is where a lot of people are missing it today. Because they use the word Lord, they use the word God, they use the word Yeshua, Yahushiki, Yahushai. But there's no substance. What's behind it? What's behind it? Oh, it's just a word. Because they only focus on the words. Oh, they sit here and debate words up and down the block. And I hope you all have seen the instruction that the son of Aaron has given you. Look at what he did. I'm going to give you one example of what he did to prove my point here with words. You students of the Kohen, what did the Kohen tell you about the word sin? What is sin? You see, that's one of the biggest of the words that people are hoodwinked and bamboozled and are. You see, because you put this word sin in your mind, and your mind takes that word sin, and then before you know it, you are shelling yourself, and you can't do anything. You can't get on with life because you're a sinner, and you're sinning, and you're sinning. What did our Kohen tell you about sin, students of the Kohen? What did he tell you about that word sin? Sin. Sin. You hear this word sin all the time here in the West. Oh, you're a sinner. You're sinning, you sin. And you see, this is what you need to do. To for your responses. Oliver, Yamesia, Lion Princess, missing the mark. Oh, Lion Princess, your cream is on the way. Posted it Friday. Going to the UK. I think that's you, right, Lion Princess? Going to the UK. The cream is on the way. And to for helping out the widow, by the way. I'm so happy and humble that I'm able to help and be a facilitator. You see, so it's very important, right? That you see, so yes, the Kohen did say, by the way, for sin, all sin is missing the mark. You're missing the mark. But what our minds, this is why you got to get the subliminal. You got to get the subliminal 360. You see, our minds have been conditioned to tell us this, oh, you're a sinner, you're going to hell, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You're never going to be anything. You're not going to do anything. God sees you as a sinner, and you're going to hell. You're a sinner. You can't be perfect because you're a sinner. How many of you been told that before? Or you've been conditioned? Because I don't want to think I'm over here, I don't want people to think I'm over here just whistling Dixie. Oh, you just said something that's just not true. There's not a lot of people in the world like that. I can tell you what, there's loads of people here in the West that have been conditioned that very same way. That very same way. They've been told, you're a sinner, you're a sinner, you're a sinner. Sinner, sinner, chicken dinner. Sinner, sinner, up and down the block. But all sin is missing the mark. What mark is that? Your mark. Talk about this in a minute. Probably not in a minute, but there's a lecture brewing up on that. About what the Master Yeshua, the Master Jesus of Nazareth, he came to free people. Well, why did he come to free people? What did people need to be freed of? Wow, that's a question, right? You should know the truth. You should know the facts. You should know the truth, and the truth will free you. Well, the word truth Yeah, it's a word, but what does that word point to? Everybody says truth, just like they say God, Lord, truth, 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 truth. But what is your truth pointing to? You see, we must look beyond the words, Mishpachah. We must look beyond the words. And if your default pointing to is if the grits and the greens and the meat and potatoes doesn't bring you back to source energy, then you better run away from that word like Forrest Gump or like Usain Bolt. You better run away. Because the whole premise is you to get back to source energy. That's default. Default setting. You must begin to reprogram you. You have to reprogram your wife, your children, your husband, your family. But you see, that's what the world will tell you. Oh, I'm saved, so I have to go out and save the world. That's my mandate. How many of you have been taught that understanding? How many of you have been taught and conditioned that way? Oh, I have to go out and save the world. No, you don't. You have to save yourself. You have to find self. Self meaning the inner I am that's inside of you. You shouldn't give a rooty tooty about nobody but yourself, because when you fix self, then it's almost like default setting. Then you will attract those that want to come to you. Those that are of your same energy. You'll attract that frequency. You'll attract that vibration. This is a great list. Oh, by the way, I would encourage you all to do this these next 6 days of labor. I was in Walmart the other day with a wife, and we're in the express line. Well, the line that has like the 10 items or less. I think it's now 16 items or less now. But the quick line, if you don't decide to pay for it yourself through the automated thing, the way you can do it all yourself, you still use a cashier. Well, we were in that line with the cashier and the little quick line. And the woman behind me, she was a worker at Walmart. And this is how to increase and boost your frequency and your vibration and attraction, a lot quicker. It's to be that helper. Remember we talked about I am a helper? Well, here's how you put it into play. Well, the woman behind me, she was buying lunch. She had a little, little soda, a little food or something. And she's, I had my little stuff, put it down. She said, do you mind if I set my stuff on next to you? I said, no problem. And do you know, my inner man, the I am said, hey, purchase this lady's, purchase her little items as well. Put them with yours. How many of you have done that already before? Or you've been in a drive-through lane and you said, hey, by the way, I'm going to put in this extra $10 or $15, pay for the woman or the man's, pay for that car's meal behind me. I would encourage you to do that. That, I'm telling you, that's going to boost your frequency, boost your vibration. Because, that same night that I came home, talk about pay it forward, but I'm going to give you her reaction in a minute, because it was almost shocking to me, yet at the same time it wasn't, the reaction of this woman. But at the same time, I came home, and I was able to get, let me tell you the infinite abundance, I was able to purchase the Subliminal 360 for $50 less than what the original price is. Baruch Hashem, I thank the universes for that. I thank the universe. I mean, quick. You want to talk about quick? Because why? I amplified, I magnified my frequency and my vibration by being a helper. By being an assistant. By being a solution to and being a helper and just being a blessing to the woman that was behind me. I would encourage you all to do. All of you go to some kind of store, or you're in some kind of drive-through lane. Pay for the person's meal behind you. Pay for the person's Starbucks behind you. And I want you to study and look at the response that you get from that person. You automatically, I saw in this woman's face, she was so happy. She was like, wow, but sir, you don't have to do that. I said, I'm a helper. She said, sir, wow. I said, your response, it shouldn't be this way, because in humanity, we should always be willing to help one another. Be kind to one another. It should be commonplace. It shouldn't be like almost like she just, seen a miracle happen. And she said, you know what, you're right. She said, but sir, but you don't have to do that. You're so nice, you see? But you're so nice. You see, that's what the world needs. Don't need no more of these haters and all these people that hate this, hate that. You discriminate against this, discriminate against that. No, we're here to bring positive energy into this world. And she was like, sir, there need to be more people like you. Yes, there do. She said, well, sir, you know what I'm going to do? She said, sir, I mean, why are you doing this? And I said, you know why? Because I want you to pay it forward as well, just like I'm paying it forward. Why don't you pay it forward? She said, sir, I'm going to do that. She said, I'm going to do it. Baruch Hashem. I give thanks to the universes. I give thanks to the God of Israel. I give thanks to the perfect law and our way of life and our way of living. I would encourage you all to go out and do it as human beings, to be positive energy in your humanity, wherever it may be, in your nation, in your world, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state. This is how you make the world a better place. This is how you let your light shine, and at the same time, try and increase your energy, your frequency, your vibration, to call and bring in and attract and manifest those things that you desire in life. You know, her energy from that response came back to me 10 times over, because I was a helper. So guess what? I was helped. Do you see it, Mishpahah? I want you all to see this. And all of you can do it these next 6 days of your labor, these next 6 days of your experience in manifesting and attracting those things that you desire, your dreams, your thoughts, your desires, your wants. This is what we call, what? Making the mark. Now, so what is sin? Sin is missing the mark. Well, let's make the mark, you see. That's what's important. That's what's important. Is that the I am that's within you. You don't have to go looking for God. God is within you. God is, you have the DNA of El Shaddai. So then why are you out here searching? You see, there's those again. These words. People out here running after words. Oh God. Oh Lord. Oh, but Christ wouldn't do, oh, Jesus wouldn't do that. You see, this is very important. Wonders why we're in the middle lecture right now. I would encourage you to appreciate the laws of Moses and the perfect law and the laws of the creator of the heavens and the universes that actually formed you as well and brought you into this particular form. Just have an appreciation. You can stay. But people are in this room, and guess what? They're doing? They're listening. Because they're trying to learn so that they can go out and be happy and humble and go out and be great and productive citizens in these nations that we've been put in. So I'd encourage you all to do the same thing these next 6 days of labor. Go out and pay it forward. Go out and amplify your energy. Go out and just be a help and actually help someone. Only if it's just one person. If 20 of you that's in this room right now help one person, I mean, my goodness, what greatness that's going to do. And you know why there's 20 people in this room? It's because 20 people are attracted to the end of Kohim. They're attracted to the vibration of the son of Aaron. That's why. Well, why is just so few people? We don't care about the number, but this is why. It's because you're attracted to source energy. You are attracted to your I am. Like-minded, it comes together this way. That's just how it happens. This is what you have attracted. You have manifested this. Why have so many people left? Not that we care about numbers. I can give a flying blue about some numbers. It's because they're not attracted. They still caught up in the mind. Mind domination, mind control. They're still trying to reason things out. They're still stuck up on words. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Oh, you YouTubers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some people won't allow you in their rooms. I'll talk for them if you don't say this name or this word this way. You're excommunicated. You're seen as an infidel. You're seen as a sinner. You're going to hell. They're quick to judge. You see, that sin word, it's been so just misunderstood. And that's what the Kohen cleaned up, right? He said, oh my goodness, all sin is you're missing your mark. You've missed the mark. Well, what mark? Well, what marks have you made for yourself? Source energy wants you to be happy. Divine presence wants you to be happy, wants you to stay humble, meek. It's all in our books. Well, what verse is that, Rabbi? It's throughout our books. The laws of Moses are filled with that. First 5 books. Throughout our history. Want you at peace. This is why we say shalom. We don't say shalom like robots. It's because you want that inner peace within yourself. That's default setting. Peace. That's default setting. You should aspire and desire that for yourself, is to have that inner peace. When all hell is breaking loose around you, so be it. You can be at peace with what? Yourself. You want peace with others, first you must be at peace with yourself. With self. Subconscious. Conscious peace. Subconscious peace. That stillness that talks to you. You must be at peace with yourself. That's real. This is reality 101. For those of you who have come here for religion, you're in the wrong place. But if you come here for real, you want a real life, you want real happiness, you want real peace, you want real joy, it starts within yourself. You all are great vehicles, great tools for source energy. To go out and to change your world, your humanity. That's beautiful. Because they're not expecting it. The woman behind in the Walmart line, she wasn't expecting that. She wasn't expecting that. She was not expecting that. Adia says, you should order some stuff from Walmart and let them deliver it here from your food stamp. Do the unexpected, and the unexpected will come to you. I was unexpectedly surprised to get $50 off for my Subliminal 360 software. That was unexpected to me because I was looking forward to circulating for $147 or whatever it may be. The unexpected will come to you. The woman in the line, it was unexpected. She didn't think that I would pay her. I mean, that was far from her. She was thinking and worried about so many other things in her life, how she's going to meet this bill. She's working long hours here at Walmart. What does Rabbi Kefa come in and do? I come in and I inject, I empower her with kindness. Do you see it, Ms. Paul? It's beautiful when you can begin to see these things. But you have to be in a state of being. To be able to listen to your I am within you and say, you know what? I am a helper. It's not just in my rituals I say this. It's in me. It is me. Make it you too. Don't just make it, oh, well, I say it in my rituals, but you don't ever go out and perform. This is why I titled this lecture, Potential. Do you see the unlimited potential that you have? You and I, we have unlimited potential to make this world so much of a better place. And our Kohen is spot on what he told us. When he talked about the blessing comes from you and I, from families. The greatness comes from great families, from people. Not from AI, but from people like you and I. I'm going to read it from our books because I think this is so very important. Today I'm taking us back to Bereshit. How many of you know Abraham? Put up a capital A if you know of Abraham. Known to be the father of all these religions, they have embraced Abraham. They have embraced Abraham. But I'm here today to tell you, and I want you all to say the same thing in your affirmations and say it to yourself daily. Maybe you get this subliminal 360, put that as one of the messages that's going to pop up. I want you to say this: I am Abraham. I am Abraham. Say it right now. I am Abraham. Because remember what I said. Words, right? Words are just mere words. But, get this. Words are just mere words. Look beyond the words. I am Abraham. And where does that word point you to? See, I'm giving you an example. I'm making it real now. Let's be real. I don't want to be caught up in religion. You listening via YouTube, you don't want to be caught up in religion. This is why you listen to these lectures. You want real. You want reality. You want now. You want presence, right? That's what I want. And I have it now. Hashem. And I'm so happy and excited that I do have it. You're like, well, Rabbi, why do you have to be so loud and so anxious and so excited? Because I'm happy. I like that. That makes me happy. That gives me joy. That gives me peace. That gives me assurance. But too many people are just caught up on words. Yes, Abraham is my father. Well, let's look beyond your words that Abraham is your father. And you're beating up on your wife. Abraham can't be your father, sir. I am Abraham. I am Abraham. Say that. And say it with meaning. Make it real to you. I am Abraham. Well, if you are Abraham, then let's go look at Abraham. Because we have to look behind the name Abraham. And what do we have? What do our books tell us about Abraham? Many people claim to be Abraham but don't have the character of an Abraham. Yes, we must look beyond the words. What good is it if you sit up here saying, oh, God this and God, you can talk and think about God continuously for the rest of your life. But what does that mean if you don't know or never even have a glimpse of the reality of what the Word is pointing to, God? And that's the state that many folks are in world over. Is they talk about God continuously. They think about God continuously. And how come I'm going to tell you? They've written books on opinions about God continuously when you look at the Talmud. They do this over, and that's all they do. We repent continuously talking about God, 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 Lord, 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 Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. What's behind it? Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua. And deny, and deny, and deny. But what's behind it? See, these words are just pointing you to something else. You must look beyond the words. And I would encourage you to tell that to some of your friends this week, your family members, your loved ones. Okay, yeah, you're saying you love me, but let's look behind the love. Let's look behind the love. What's there? You understand what I mean? How many of you are we're on the same frequency this day? You understand what I'm saying? We must look behind the word. We get that same vibration. I want you to understand this, Mishpachah. You must look behind the word. How many of you have been hoodwinked and bamboozled this day and been told, oh, honey, darling, I love you? 2 years later, divorce court. Well, what is that? What's behind the love? See, love, words, man, you got to look beyond. I'm encouraging you this day. Look beyond the word. Oh, but Rabbi, he said he loved me. Oh, Rabbi, she said, she loved me and she's going to make me tea every day. Look behind that. Put that to the test. Think about that for a minute. Many people are saying, God, God, Lord, Lord, Jesus, Jesus, Yeshua, Yeshua. but they're not nowhere near connected to source energy. They're nowhere near connected to self. Nowhere near connected to the I am that's within them. But they're giving you the Word of God. What is that, in your opinion? I would call that religion. Sum it all up. No kind of connection to source energy whatsoever. This is why I got tired of Christianity. There was, yeah, God, Lord, do this, do that, blah, 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 but there was nothing behind it. The words didn't connect back to source, in back to my I am. The Kohen did. He brought me right back to the I am, back to self. Now I realize my potential. Do you know how powerful you are, Mishpah? You YouTubers listening in, do you know really how powerful you are? When you connect back to yourself, the subconscious, you realize how powerful you are. When you become conscious from being unconscious, you realize how powerful you are. And how your existence isn't just from birth to death. It's more to it. You know, now you begin to look at the cosmos now. You begin to look beyond the stars and the planets. And you realize that you're connected to that. Can you believe it? Do you see the beauty in that? You're connected to all that. And a bag of chips. Or Cheetos, whatever your flavor is. Do you understand? You see the beauty in that? Wow. Isn't that amazing? But you can't experience that unless you're connected truly to have dealt with the viruses that's in your subconscious as you become conscious. I am conscious. I am present. I am. I'm telling you. I am. When you connect back to source energy, your whole world, you'll see your whole world in a new light. And you'll want to be that helper. Because I am a helper. I am prosperous. I am riches. I am whole. I am abundance. I am infinitely abundant. I am success. I am an awesome relationship. I am peace. I am love. I am joy. I am Abraham. Now let's look at Abraham. If we say I am Abraham, let's take a look at this. And for that, I think we'll go to Bereshit. We'll go to Genesis. Genesis chapter 15. All of you have read it. I know you have in your studies. You Torah students, just like your students of nature, you're students of the Torah, you're students of the laws of Moses. Look at the beginning of, look at the first verse. Let's start at verse 1 of Bereshit, of Genesis chapter 15. After these things, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision. Wow. Now, I'm going to stop right there. The words of Yahweh came to Abram in a what, Mishpah? In a vision. Now, can anybody tell me, how do you have visions? I want to get a little bit personal here. Anybody in this room, let me put it this way. Has anybody in this room ever had a vision before? Anybody? Put up a V if that's you. If you had a vision before, you say, Rabbi, yes, I have had a vision. Not only I am Abraham, but just like Abraham, I have had a vision. Has anybody had a vision before? Torah says that Abram had a vision. Okay, now, for those people that had a vision, when did you have your vision? When you were in a Walmart line? Or what's the scenario? What's the environment that you were in when you had a vision? When you had this particular vision or visions, plural, What kind of state were you in? Were you cutting the grass and you had a vision? Or you was cooking in the kitchen, you was cooking curry and you had a vision? Abraham said, sleep, okay. Anybody else, when did you have your vision? What state were you in? Mind, imagination, subconscious. Like a person says sleep, okay, another sleep. Anybody else, when you had your vision, what state of being were you in? Were you awake? Were you active on the job? In the quietness of meditation? Yael, woman of the tent, says. Anybody else? When I was meditating, Serenity says. Now, this is the point I want to get to. Folks that say, oh, meditating in my home, okay. Where is meditating in the Bible? Do you not see it? It's right here. Abraham did it. You said, I am Abraham. So you should be having meditations as well. Quiet time as well. Do you see it? I don't have visions when I'm starting IVs on babies. I don't have visions when I'm drawing blood from a baby. I don't have visions when I'm changing a baby's diaper. I don't get those kind of visions on the job. I don't. I didn't. But I get them in those quiet moments in my meditations, you see. When you're meditating, do you see it, Miss Bahar? This is your meditation right here. Abraham did it. For those of you who need scripture, my goodness. Again, running after words with no substance behind them. Because they just word chasers. How many of you know word chasers out there? They just chase words. I'm not here to chase words. I want to know, where is this word pointing me to? So Abram, you know, he had a vision. And you see this time and time again in our books and in our history. So what are these folks doing, our ancestors doing, when they're having these visions? Majority of the time, they're in a state of being. They're in a state of I am. They're in a state of the subconscious state. They're conscious folks. This is what you got to clue in on. As we come back, as Israel is literally waking up, you see. Israel, you're waking up. Look at you. Do you see where we are in this age? It's a beautiful thing. Israel, you are witnesses. You are watchers to Israel waking up. All of you are part and parcel of that. You have great potential. So, when you say, I am Abraham, then I would encourage you, don't neglect and don't berate visions, dreams, meditations. These things should be commonplace for you. This is what you should be doing. This is part of your makeup, Abraham. I am Abraham. You should be having these things, Mr. Muhammad. Let's continue on. Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of Yahweh came to Abram. Again, I read from the Hidden Braille Scrolls, which is formerly known as, and now known as, the Abrahamic Faith Bible, the Abrahamic Faith and John Study Scriptures. You should get them on Amazon. Purchase them, please. It's vital. Helping you come out of that mind control, out of that religion mumbo jumbo. And after these things, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision, saying, do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. Oh, great positive. You see that positive energy from source energy. Encouraging, not tearing down. I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. How many of you said, I am Abraham, or I am Abram at this time, so you are Abraham? This is for you. This pertains to you. You have a shield. What are you afraid of? You don't have to fear anything. And your exceedingly great reward. Why are you with your hand out when you should be, giving instead of, the gimme mentality? That's not you. You are Abraham. Do you see what I mean by you have to look beyond the word? What's behind that word? Gimme, 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 gimme? Name is Jimmy, no offense. you're a giver. You're not giving, you're giving. You're a helper. You're not, oh, well, how can I be helped? No, you're helping. You're not the helper. I mean, you're not, you're giving. How can I help? Your exceedingly great reward. Verse 2, but Abram said, Adonai, Yahweh, what will you give me, seeing that I am without heir, and he, the son of Meshach, Eleazar of Damascus, is over my bed. Look at verse 3. Then Abram said, look, you have given me no offspring. Indeed, the son born in my bed and who shall be your heir? Verse 5. Then he brought him outside and said, look now towards the Shemaim, look towards the heavens, and count the stars, if you're able to number them. And he said to him, so shall your descendants be. Look at verse 6. I want to clue in, because I know all of you read this, but look at verse 6. And he, meaning Yahweh, trusted with faithfulness in Yahweh. I mean, he, meaning Abraham, trusted in faithfulness in Yahweh. And he counted, he accounted it to him for righteousness. And he trusted with faithfulness. See, that's the key. A lot of people today don't trust. Oh, that's like crap what you're doing. No trust. Oh, show me a scripture where it says that we have to meditate. No trust. I am Abraham? No, I don't think so. And he trusted with faithfulness. How many of you understand that in life, as you're understanding in the life that you've been living, that sometimes that you have to take risks? How many of you believe that? That in life, if you want to be successful, if you want to have a happy success, it comes in both a happy relationship, a great job, a lot of money in the bank, that you have to take risks. How many of you believe that? That in life, if you really want to do something, you really want to succeed, you really want to make accomplishments in life, you really want to make a difference in this world, is that you have to take risks. How many of you believe that? I'm a firm believer in that. Is that you have to take, you have to go out and try. You have to go out and get outside of your element and do things that may seem to you unorthodox. You see, because when you begin to do this, then you begin to come out of the mind conditioning and the mind control. See, because your mind has been controlling you such a way for so very long. Oh, well, why are you doing this? We've been doing it this way for so long. See, you have to break that chain of mind control. And that means you're going to have to step outside of the environment that you have attracted to yourself or manifested. Your environment is not manifested by outside forces. Your environment is manifested by what you do on the inside of yourself. What's going on the inside is a direct reflection on what's happening in your environment and what's being manifested around you today in your goings and comings. Do you all understand that? You don't waste energy pointing the finger at somebody else. This man did it, that man did it, this woman did it to me. That all of that when you begin to truly look at yourself, then you realize, okay, I am the facilitator of everything that has happened around me. When you begin to take responsibility, and some of you are now you're realizing that, oh yeah. Too many times I've been passing the buck, but the buck stops with me. That's where the buck really stops, you see. So you have to get outside of yourself, and you must begin to take risks. You must begin to do things that you normally, because your mind is telling, normally, that's mind control. Normally you would do. Well, that's not normal. That's your mind telling you, oh, I'm controlling this. So you need to take control back. And you need to do things that are outside of what is normal. I guess you would call that what? Normal? And then this is when you begin to break that noose that the mind wants to have over you. It wants to control you, wants to tell you. He wants you to act, sporadically, just on emotion and mental thought, and just want to keep you thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, to where you can't process anything and you can't get back to subconscious. This is why that Subliminal 360 software is going to really be a great, great, great benefit to you. It's going to be a great blessing to you, because it's going to infuse and empower you with positivity. And you're going to begin to really take control and dominate the mind. And then use your mind as a powerful tool that we've been given. Instrument, device, organ that we've been given. Train. And do powerful and wonderful and great things, and positive energy, vibration and frequency in your life, and attract everything that you want and desire and dream about and envision for yourself. But what was noteworthy about Abram is that he trusted. He didn't say, well, wait a minute, let me go and Google this and let me get the reviews on what you're telling me, God. Because look, wait a minute, normally things don't happen this way, God. Because things just don't work this way normally. What do you mean? I mean, what you gotta break it down to me, no? Our books tell us, our history tells us, Moses tells us that Abram trusted. All of you are going to have to trust. You're going to have to take the risk. You're going to have to go all in. You see, what you give the universes is what the universes is going to give you back. And the universes can give a flying flute about some lip service. But the universe is watching. It watches the action of the human being. The nature. What's behind these words, you see? So it's important. All of you have awesome potential. If Abraham had awesome potential, you have awesome potential as well. Ms. Bob, don't get short-sighted. Don't get stuck on level of words. Many people this day, they phone into us and they're hoodwinked and bamboozled and mind controlled because all they want to talk about is words. Oh, Rabbi, what's this word? Why? I'm still trying to understand this word. And they spend the rest of their life continually still trying to understand a word. Never connecting back to source energy, to the I am that's within them, because they're so hung up on words and trying to prove and disprove words. Mishpah. Never getting a glimpse of the reality of what the word God really means. Wow. Isn't that the commentary for most of the world? Maybe some of your family members, friends, and loved ones have died that in that very same state, have passed on. Missed the mark. You want to know some synonyms for sin? I'll give you some. In my opinion, insanity. To me, that just was insanity. That's one. Another one, in my opinion, would be unconsciousness. That's sin to me. So if you don't like the word sin, just change it and put insanity there. And if you don't like the word insanity, just put unconsciousness there. Because that's all that it is. At the end of the day, sin is just that you missed the mark. You never met your desires and your wants and your needs because you're too busy, word chasing. You're chasing at words. And you're chasing after feelings and emotions. And you never connect back to who you really are supposed to be, yourself. So subconscious is just dormant in there. Consciousness is just dormant, and you're still, a lot of folks are walking around unconscious. never having a clue, and they're walking around in anxiety because they fear the future and they hate the past and they never live present. That's the state of humanity for the most part. You all are so benefited. You are so blessed to be at the feet of the Kohen, to get the facts on the ground. You see how the Kohen changed that word sin up? I tell you, it really gave clarity and credence to the word sin. You're just missing your mark. What mark do you make for yourself? You missed the mark. You never make your desires because you're too busy trying to take care of the pastor. You're too busy trying to make sure pastor gets, his new jet. You're too busy all up in Lolita's business, or in Sam's business, or in Freddie's business, that you never took care of your own business. God forbid that's any of you. As you connect to the God-man, the God-woman that's within you, you begin to realize the awesome potential that you have. You all have awesome potential. Your awesome potential, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? Don't see your existence as just, from birth to death, this is my opportunity. No, you're more than that. You have the DNA of El Shaddai. How are you going to just stop at from birth to death? Are you kidding me? Now it's you have opportunity to amplify, to really correct what has been fed to you, spoon-fed to you for over the years as you've been born in this world. Our children now are going to have a hands up on us, right? Because guess what? We're teaching this stuff to our children. You see? Your message says, there is more, Mishpah. There is so much more, and more, infinitely more. So we have to start somewhere. And so we must begin to deal with the mind. If you don't deal with this mind, you see, because the mind, I'm telling you, one of the first things the mind is going to hoodwink and bamboozle you is going to tell you don't trust. Oh, don't trust nobody. Don't trust what he's saying. Oh, he's just trying to get your money. The mind is one of the first thing is don't trust it. Don't trust that. Don't trust that. Look beyond the words. Don't get stuck on the level of words. That will stagnate you. That will be a big stumbling block to where you can't even move. You can't even, move an inch anymore. When it comes back to your connecting back to your I am, the source energy. When it comes back to you being happy, being full of joy, being at peace, being full of love, being a helper. So our Torah tells us in Genesis, in Bereshit chapter 15, verse 6, and he, meaning Abram, trusted with faithfulness in Yahweh, and he accounted it to him for righteousness. Now, look at verse 7, which is very instructional, and you'll see this pattern throughout our history. Then he said to him, I am Yahweh who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit it. Now, if you notice throughout our history, our rich Hebrew history, is that the Most High source energy always has to bring us out of something. How many of you see that in our history? We always need to be brought out of something. This is the pattern that you need to understand. The Kohen is doing the same thing today in 2019. He's bringing you out of this state of unconsciousness. Do you see it? The Israelites were brought out of what? Come on, y'all need to be with me. Stay with me. Don't try to go into that Shabbat mode just yet. I know your stomach may be growling. You want to get into that Shabbat meal. Hold on a minute. How many of you see that? The Master Yahweh, Master Yeshua, the God of Israel, always needs to bring us out of something. We always need to be brought out. You see, you're going to miss it. They're going to miss what they call the second coming because they haven't been brought out yet. I want you to understand these patterns. Because, you know, the God of Israel, source energy does not change. It's set. There's no change in the perfect law. It's perfect. Why do you change it? We always need to be brought out. So until you brought out of this mind control, oh my goodness. You see, this is where most folks are. So-called, I am Abraham. They haven't been brought out yet. Even Abraham had to be brought out. Do you see it? So even today, you're going to need to be brought out. The Israelites, the Hebrews, had to be brought out of Egypt. Who did it? Source energy. Think about that for a minute. So you're going to need to be brought out of something. And I guarantee you today, you don't need to be brought out of no Egypt. You're going to need to be brought up to the form of Egypt, but the Egypt is within. You're enslaved to yourself. You're enslaved to your mind. Your mind is just controlling you. How many of you see that today? You're going to need to be brought out of your mind into your subconscious. Because now you're conscious. So the subconscious is saying, okay, now it's time to get to work. Now it's time to work. I need to be fed so that I can operate properly. And I can feed the subconscious. I can feed the conscious. See, the subconscious feeds the conscious. The conscious don't feed the subconscious. It's the subconscious that feeds the consciousness. Do you see it? So you're going to need to be brought out of the mind, placed into subconsciousness. And then your consciousness will begin to grow. And it will begin to be nurtured. And it will begin to become grounded within your very being, within this fleshly body. Fleshly body, that's just outer appearance, man. Do you see it? That's just the outward shell. But many people in this world put the focus just on the outward shell. They never look within. They never see the potential that they have. Come on, man. The minute that you're born, the minute that my baby boy, Baruch Hashem, Nakshan, the minute that he's born, his brain's born, he start dying. In his flesh, you see, his flesh does. What? That source that he comes from, source that I come from, source that you come from, that divine source, source energy, source power, that will never die. So, for us to facilitate an abundance of a life here on this earth, in the time and in the opportunity that we're given great potential. We're here on this earth. We're given great potential to do great things, or vice versa. We can sit down here and do horrible things. Do terrible things. And do you know, when you look at the root of that, everything centers around if you have control of your mind or if you don't, if your mind is controlling you. That's the center of it right there. Because if you do have control of your mind, you'll realize you're conscious. So you realize you're already, you're already operating with your subconscious at work. But if you don't, then, you're still unconscious. That's where it all starts. Because just like the son of Aaron said, we're going to continue to read this in a minute with Abraham, with Abram at the time in our history. But just like the son of Aaron said, is that if you don't understand, a nation is not great on its own. It's the people that makes the nation great. And I was listening to one commentator. He said this. I thought it was quite instructional. He said, "You want to know what a great nation is? This is how you judge a great nation. You look at barometer. Maybe some of you looking to move to another nation. Maybe some of you are. I know a lot of people trying to get into America. That's for sure. That's for dang sure." I know a lot of people trying to get into America. You look how they treat the poorest of their people. A nation, you can assess a nation by how they treat their people. If there's great people in that nation doing great things, that's going to be a great nation. You understand what I mean? So, at the end of the day, it's all about humanity. Humanity are just what? People. It's all about the treatment of people at the end of the day. Now, you look at some of these worst countries, and you can Google all this stuff. Some of the worst countries to live in, I guarantee you they're not treating their people good. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you. Some of you may want to do this experiment. Google the top 10 worst nations to live in. And I can guarantee you they're not treating their people good. Now, you look at America, the lowest of their people. How do they treat them? My goodness. I work in an environment to where this special needs mom, single mom, special needs child, the government is paying for her food. The government is giving her a house. The government is subsidizing all her bills. The government is giving her and her son free health care. Wow! Who wouldn't want to live in that nation, right? How many of you want to live in that kind of nation? To where you poor, and she don't even have a job, and she's getting all of this stuff from the government. From the nation that she lives in. Wow! And you wonder why America is great. And I'm not just singling out America. I'm just talking about America because this is where I live. I know there's a lot of other countries doing that as well. I don't know. I think Sweden is, I think, the #1 place to live, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody maybe want to Google that real quick. But you know, in this country, all their people get free health care. Free health care. They get awesome retirement benefits. They work awesome job hours. I mean, the people there are living longer lives. They have a longer lifespan. And you wonder why. It's because of this treatment of people. How you treat your neighbor. Isn't that what we're told in our books? In our way of life? As the descendants of Abraham? As the Hebrews? Descendants of the Hebrews? How you treat them. But before we can even get to treating our neighbor, like we talked about last year, we got to treat ourselves right. That's not being selfish, that's just real. You have to treat yourself good. You have to want good treatment. You have to be able to take care of yourself. Why do you think the son of Aaron has given you all these he's given us all of this great advice and instruction on how to take care of our health, our bodies. You know, this is good stuff because you have to take care of this. Yes, it's temporal, the body's temporal, but still, you have to take care of it. How many of you have this mindset? Is that anything that you have, you purchase material things, you like to take care of it? You don't just buy something and then you just don't take care of it, right? You like to take care of it until, the wheels is falling off of it. I'm going to take care of it. You have pets, you want to take care of them. You're going to give them the best care. You have plants, you're going to give them the best care. You're going to take care of them. You have that wife, you're going to give her the best care. You're going to take care of her. You have a husband, you want them in tip-top, optimal care and operating at optimal proficiency. You want to take care of what you have. See? This is the kind of potential I want to infuse in you this day, today, Shabbat. Is that you have this positive potential to do great things. But you must start doing those things within yourself. You see, you must amp up yourself. You're like a power generator. They come to you for source power, for source energy. Everybody around you. So you have to be amped up. You have to have that power coming into you so that you can distribute it to the neighborhoods. Do you see it? You're a transmitter and a receiver of energy. But to amp that energy up, it has to start within you. You must come out of that mind control. And once, I don't know, majority of you are, and you're working on it, and yes, it's going to take time. But there's tools that they can help you. This subliminal 360 is one of them that can really help you. Come out of mind control and get it. Now you're out of mind control, you're conscious. I am conscious. Now I am present now. Now you need to, get the subconscious good and up and running and at optimal efficiency. And the subconscious is a gift just keep on giving to you. When you plug in, when you get rid of the viruses and you plug in positivity, and you plug in love, and you plug in peace. It's beautiful, Mitzvah. This is real. No religion here. This is ground roots. You come from Mother Earth. This is ground roots, universal principles. Now you're connecting back to Mother Earth. And not only to Mother Earth is what? Connected to what? To universe, solar system. Universes are connected to the cosmos. And all of this you're all connected to it. Beautiful. Remind me of the Lion King. It's like the circle of life, baby. It's the circle of infinite abundance. Rukashir. And it's beautiful. Let's continue reading on with Abram. So you have to come out. You have to be brought out of something. And that's what the son of Aaron is doing. He's bringing you out, Israel. He's bringing you out of conditioning. He's bringing you out of all of that negativity. He's bringing you out of that. He's bringing us out of it because I'm included. He has brought me out in so many ways. And I look forward to being brought out of more stuff. Because him. And I'm so grateful and thankful for the Kohen. I'm so happy and humbled to know him on such a level that I know him. So, we must be brought out. So then, that's in verse 7. Look at verse 8 of Bereshit, Genesis chapter 15. And he said to him, Adonai, Lord, how shall I know that I will inherit it? See, there's nothing wrong with asking the universes how. Because when you ask the universes how, it'll come to you from unexpected or expected sources. The how will be, it will come to your front door. Now this is what the part I want to get to. Now you all know we're getting to the covenant side of things because you're covenant people. I am Abraham, then you're part of the covenant, baby. But you got to meet covenant criteria. You got to be a place. You just can't say I am Abraham. Let me see what's behind those words. There's got to be something behind it. Look beyond the words. So in verse 9 he goes on to say, and so he said to him, bring me a 3-year-old heifer and a 3-year-old female goat and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove and a young pigeon. Verse 10, then he brought all these things to him and cut them into two down the middle and placed each piece opposite each other. But he did not cut the birds into two. Now here's the verse I want you to really hone in on. Verse 11. And when the vultures came down on the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. Stop. I'm stopping right there. I know all of you read this many times, but I want to hone in on the vultures. How many of you can see how many of you can see the vultures that are circling around? See, vultures are going to come in. And vultures are going to come in, and vultures will come in the form of your mind. Sometimes it'll be your mama, your daddy. The vultures are going to start, your wife, your husband, the children. The vultures are going to start circling you. And in circling you, you see, when you want to get back and connect to source energy, you're going to have to shoo the vultures away. That's what Abraham had to do. He had to run them away. Sometimes that's going to be required. You got to get rid of the vultures, man. Because they're going to begin to eat at your very essence. You're not that. No, you need to come on back to church, homeboy. You need to come on back to the church house. You need to get saved. Blah, 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 blah. You need to come out of that new age mumbo jumbo. Or it could just be even your mind itself. That mind can be a terrible vulture if you let it. They can just eat away at your infinite abundance. to where you don't even see yourself as abundant, much less infinitely abundant. You must be careful of the vultures. Don't let them hang around. What did Abram do? Why do you think Torah even put this verse in here? Well, why is this verse here talking about vultures for? What does that have to do with the covenant that's getting ready to happen? And when the vultures came down on the carcasses, you see, what is the carcasses a form of? That's the form of the work that you must do. Oh, Rabbi, I can't get up early in the morning and do my meditations and go through my rituals. What is that? Can anybody tell me what that is? That's the vultures, baby. Capital V, call it what it is. Oh, Rabbi, I can't circulate that money for that subliminal 360. What is that? Anybody tell me? That's the vultures. Now, what was the carcasses? That was the work that Abram was told to do. He was told to take these animals, cut these carcasses in a certain way, blah, blah, blah. It's the work that you must put in. You have awesome potential, but the potential requires you to put some skin in the game. You must have power to the potential. So Abram had to go do some work. He had to go follow instructions, Mishpahah. Precise, specifically. Did Master Yahweh Abram to do this thing? Are you paying attention? I hope you are. Because that's requirement. Don't let the vultures come in and start eating at your car. Oh, Rabbi, there's no. That seems, I mean, this is almost like devil worship. We're over here doing these things. That's not normal for us to do. What is that? That's your mind control. The vulture. The big old fat vulture that's been in there for a long time. He's been eating good, hasn't he? He's been eating at all of your carcasses. And I don't mean to get kind of graphic. I don't mean it in that way. Not literal carcasses, but he's eating at all of that great potential that you have for yourself. As covenant people, you're blessed. You're already blessed. You're infinitely abundant. But you can't see the abundance because guess what? Somebody's eating at your table. And that's that big vulture. He's just eating away at all of your inheritance. Take heed. You need to take your inheritance back and do just as Abram did. Vultures come, what are you going to do? Verse 11 of Bereshit of Genesis chapter 15. And when the vultures came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. He didn't say, oh, y'all can stay put. Just don't bother me right now. I got work going on. I'm an animal lover. I don't mean to hurt none of y'all. No, he drove them away. You too. You must do the same thing. You must put them away. What's behind the words? Words have power, but you have more power. Your actions. You got to drive them away. You got to drive them vultures away because they're going to come at you in many forms. Maybe they'll come to you looking like J-Lo. Come into the world. They'll come to you in many forms. But what you have to ask yourself is what's behind the vulture? What's really going on? What is the vulture really pointing me to? Are they pointing me back to source energy, or are they pointing me away from source energy? Are they pointing me back to the I am that's within me, or are they pointing me away and distracting me and telling me I must be depressed, I must have anxiety, and I must be overwhelmed, and I blah, 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 blah. Do you see it, Mishpahah? Don't get sidetracked, and don't let the vultures be a stumbling block. Drive them away. And see, this is why, just what the Kohen said is so very important, is that you're not to go out advertising, perfect law. You don't advertise it, live it. Be perfect. No need to say perfect law, just be perfect law. I told that woman in the Walmart line when I bought her lunch, and I bought her lunch with all my little items, I didn't say, well, this is the perfect law, and I'm going to sit there and give you this advertisement. You have to bear with me for about 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to you about the perfect law and how you can be infinitely abundant if you go back to your I am mode. I didn't say to do all that. No, I said I'm a helper. I want to help you today. I want to help you this day. I want to help you now. She's like, wow, you want to help me? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe this perfect stranger wants to help me. He wants to do good for me. He doesn't even know me from Adam, but he wants to help me. Wow, this is letting your light shine, right? This is boosting positive energy into this world. This is helping humanity. Wow. What's she going to do? Oh, I'm going to pay it forward. I'm going to go do the same thing. Can you see the ripple effect that can come from that? All of you also do the same thing. Ripple effect can come from that. And that's powerful. That's powerful. Powerful stuff, Mishpachah. So be careful for the vultures. Be careful. Be on guard. And shoo them away. Recognize the vultures for what they are, because they're going to come in many different forms. Now we're going to move on. We're going to go forward now, because Abram has wanted a son. He's promised a son by the God of Israel, Master Yahweh. He's promised a son that's going to come from his vows. Well, let's look at this son now. Let's go forward, right? Where are we going to take it? We're going to take it to Bereshit. Let's go to Genesis chapter 26. Another awesome chapter for the awesome tribes of Israel. Genesis chapter 26. Again, we read from the Hebrew Break Scrolls. If you don't have these Hebrew Break Scrolls, please get them. Now known as the Abrahamic Faith Bible, Abrahamic Faith Exam Study Scriptures. Make sure you get this. This is a must-have. So we're going to go to 26 now. Chapter 26. Let's look at the offspring. Bear with me 1 second as the computer gets with me. Computer's in Shabbat mode as well. So now we're looking at Yitzhak. We're looking at Isaac, Abraham's son. Baruch Hashem. Wasn't Abraham promised a son? Abraham did everything just like he was instructed, as we read in Genesis chapter 15. Everything that the Master Yahweh, Source Energy, told Abraham to do, he did it. Our books tell us that his trust was rewarded. Trustworthy. Trust. Wow. Question to you this day is, do you trust the son of Aaron? You got to trust him. I'm telling you, it's going to be beneficial for you to go all in. The son of Aaron will never steer you clear, Israel. If you consider yourself Israel, then you must take orders. You must take instruction from the sons of Aaron. That's our law. That's our way of life. That's our instruction. That's our commandments. Children of the covenants. Let's not get it twisted here. Let's just be real today in 2019. No need for the religious mumbo jumbo. I'm telling you, put all your trust in the son of Aaron, and you will not go wrong. And you will be the epitome of infinite abundance. I guarantee you. I am infinite abundance. Baruch Hashem. Thank you to the universes. Thank you, Mother Earth, for continuing to give back abundantly, continually, in all areas of my life. I am so thankful. I am so grateful this day. I give thanks for the son of Aaron. So we look at Yitzhak now. We look at Isaac. We look at Yitzhak. I want to pick it up here in Genesis chapter 26. Let's start reading at verse 1. And there was a famine in the land, besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Yitzhak went over to Abimelech, the king of the Plishtim, in Yer. Look at verse 2. When Yahweh appeared to him and said, do not go down to Mitzrayim, to Egypt. Live in the land which I shall tell you. Look at verse 3. Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and increase you, For you and your descendants I have given these lands. I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your Ab. Look at verse 4. I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of Shemaim. I will give, listen to this, I will give your descendants these lands. And your descendants, and in your descendants, listen to this. Hakoni had just talked about this in his lecture. And listen to this. And in your descendants, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. In your descendants. Not just talking about the land of Israel or the promised land or the inherited land that's for the Israelites. You know, that's contracts. That's covenant stuff there. You know, that's forever, right? But listen to what is also the clause in the covenant. And in your descendants, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. According to talked about this. He just talked about this, didn't he? And then he said, well, if a nation is great, it's because what? The people are great, right? If the nation is great, it's because the people are great. Now, here's something that the wise will understand. Let's use Google, for instance. How about you Google the top 10 nations, prosperous, rich, productive nations on this planet Earth? Google just the top 10. If somebody wants to do that real quick and name some of them off and type them in, I'd appreciate that. Because there's a reason behind this. Now, let's go back and look at the covenant. I want you to see this now. That Yahweh, Master Yahweh read that he was talking to Yitzhak, to Isaac. Now, let's look at this for a minute. He says this in chapter 26, verse 4. And in all your descendants, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. How many of you are descendant of Yitzhak? How many of you are descendant of Abraham? Think about this for a minute. Because a lot of folks say, well, Rabbi, where is Israel today? Where is Israel today in 2019? This is why I told you to go Google those nations. The top 10 nations. Prosperous nations. You want to know where Israel today? This may be one of the greatest clues that you'll ever get. I'm not saying all of Israel, but probably a majority of Israel. And it don't have to be a lot of Israel. Because, you know, how many Israelites does it take to bless a nation? Let's just look at Egypt, for instance. How many Hebrews did it take to totally change the whole, let's just say the whole monetary structure of Egypt? How many? It only took one to die for that Hakohin. Hakohin knows where I'm going with this. It only took just one. And who knows his name? What was his name? Joseph, if you didn't know. He put Egypt, if Egypt wasn't on the map, he put Egypt above the map all by himself. Of course, with help of source energy, source power. But it's one man. One man. How many men did it take to get Egypt, to get the Hebrews out of Egypt? So we're not talking about numbers. And this is where majority of, when you're in this mind control, numbers are important. When you're in this mind control, numbers are just super important because they'll tell you, and I've heard this from Judaism many a times, oh, well, consensus, what does consensus say? Well, consensus, we're going to go with consensus. Well, who has the bigger numbers? And that's what we'll go with, okay? It's consensus. Consensus is always right. We must always go with the majority of the people. No. That's not how we roll as descendants of the Hebrews, as descendants of Abraham. We don't roll that way. We don't roll with numbers. It's quality over quantity. You get it? That's where it's at. And that's what you need to understand. If you're here for a religion, you're in the wrong place. But if you want the real, unadulterated the facts on the ground about Abraham, his descendants, and how our way of life and how we're supposed to live as the Israelites, say 2019, then you're in the right place. But you must trust. Well, Rabbi, I trusted many times before, and I got my feelings hurt. So you're going to stop trusting? Oh, I trusted in that pastor, and he let me down. Oh, so you're going to just stop? You're going to give up? You're going to become a quitter? No, I'm going to take risk, and I'm going to take risk. I don't discount my experiences that have happened to me in the past. Being in altar board, being in Catholicism, and being in all of these different non-denominations. I don't discount that for 1 minute, because I gained so much experience. You understand what I'm saying? Experience. So when I can see truth, when I can see facts, when I can see what's good, because I've experienced what's bad. You see, I've gained a healthy experience on what is bad. Do you understand? This is very, very important that you get this. So all of you, don't complain. Oh, well, Rabbi, why was I in this religion so long? I wish I could have came out, blah, 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 blah. No. You chalk that up as great experience for yourself. You chalk that up as great experience for yourself. And because now, even now, you have a higher appreciation because you had the bad, and now you're tasting infinitely good. I'm telling you, you're tasting best. You're tasting awesome, and you know it for what it is, because you know what's not awesome and you know what's not good. You had to go through these experiences, and that's a beautiful thing. Never discount that. Never knock that, in no way, shape, form, or fashion. So we see here that covenant promise here says that in your descendants all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Now I'm just going to speak for America. Now I humbly say this: America is a great country, but I tell you what. And I don't remember what year. Has it been 5 years, I call it already, that you've been residing, domiciled in America? Is it close to 5 years? I mean, 4 years? Where we at? But ever since the Kohen has been on the shores of North America, one man, there's been some things here on the shores of North America, here in America, that have never happened. Wall Street hit a record highs. It's been 4 years and a few days. We get it. 4 years and a few days, and we're making more oil now than Saudi Arabia. Are you kidding me? Think about these things. The prosperity here in America has just come off charts. Why is that? You see, you got to ask yourself these kind of questions. America is just like with the superpower. Everybody looks to America. Everybody wants to come to America. And they can't. You see? They can't. I always mentioning the unemployment levels are at the lowest in many years. And not only in the Caucasian race, they broke this down. And where unemployment rates are low with the Asians here, with the Hispanics here, with the people of color that they consider blacks. My goodness. Everybody's getting a job. Everybody's happy. Everybody's producing, being productive citizens. And again, this is what's going to make this country so great. The diversity of all the peoples, and what I just read in covenant. This is all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, and your descendants. So what are we here to do in these nations that we're in, as we're outside of our inherited land, our promised land? What are we here to do? Again, it's not just words. Everybody want to give me this lip service, say this, say Hebrew, this. What are you doing? You're supposed to be, if you're covenant people, if you're the descendants of Abraham, then you're supposed to be doing what? Being productive citizens, being a blessing to your nation. And then Torah goes on to give us an explanation here in Genesis, expound on Abraham. In Genesis chapter 26, verse 5. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my ordinances, my commandments, and my statutes, and my Torah. You see, because Abraham fully trusted, he was all in. And in 2019, if you want to be brought out, because, listen, the God of Israel wants to bring his people out. But the people today that proclaims to be under the God of Israel's umbrella, they're mistaken it. See, they're thinking they're going to physically be taken out of a land brought somewhere else. But first they must understand, they must be taken out mentally, out. You must come out of your mind and get back to your I am to even qualify to be brought out of the land into another land, brought back into the land from out of the lands that you're in. Do you understand? This is why this process is so very important right now. You don't want to discount this process. You don't want to reject the process of you coming out of mind control. Because if you don't come out of mind control, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss being taken back into the land. Do you understand that? And a lot of you YouTubers, you see it on YouTube, is that there's a lot of wrong teachings out there. They're teaching you false and misunderstood teachings. You remember what we said about words at the beginning? You must look beyond the words. Where are the words pointing you to? They're not pointing you back to source energy. They're pointing you to pick up a weapon, protest. No, we were put in these nations to be a blessing to these nations. Contribute. You have so much potential. You, I, we have so much potential to do great, mighty things. We're a blessing. You see, it's in the contract. Reiterated to Isaac, to Yitzhak. Yeah, even outside of the land, even outside of the borders of Israel. The people, the children, the descendants of the Abraham are going to be a blessing to the nations ahead. Now, take that. Dip that cookie in your milk. That's real business there. That's what's real. Your potential, Mishpachah. Utilize the tools. Utilize the priest for your potential. To increase your potential. How many of you want to increase your potential? You understand that you have the potential to do great things. Well, how are you going to get doing those great things? How do you go about it? There's a process there's procedure to fulfill your potential, and guess what? So that you can do what? So that you can not miss the mark, that you can make your mark. Yah forbid that you don't make your mark. And that you go through this existence on this planet and you miss the mark. My desire is that all of you make the mark. You meet your desires and your wants and your needs, and you live a happy life, and you're a productive citizen, and you do great things, and you bring positive energy to this world. In whatever form that makes you happy and gives you joy and gives you peace. Has nothing to do with no mumbo-jumbo religion. Forget all of that mumbo-jumbo, because that's just what it is. It's mumbo-jumbo. And there's no time for mumbo-jumbo. There's just no time for it, Mishpachah. Oh, Hakolim told me to remind you that next Friday is our Pentecost for the Enoch calendar, lasting 2 days. Lasting 2 days. Next Friday, that is. What date is next Friday? I want to make sure we get this right. Next Friday, would that be the 31st or the 24th, Hakolim? The 24th, this coming up Friday, or the 31st of May. So we examine that for those that follow the Hanok's calendar. The 24th of May. Yeah, to adopt that, So yeah, on that note, I think I'll wrap it up for today and wish you all a great Shabbat. You learned something. I want you to understand potential. No, I don't hope. Let me take that back. You have learned something this day. Go out and apply it and increase your potential. Well, I don't know how to increase my potential, Rabbi. This is why you have the Kohen in the gate. He can assist you, and he can truly help you. He can help you. He is a helper to all. He's a helper to all, the whole world. He can help you meet your potential, your desires, and your wants, and your needs. Because, I mean, it may be difficult because some of you don't even know where to start. You don't even know where to start. Daniel says, POTUS. He says, POTUS, priest of the United States. That's good stuff. He's the priest of the United States of America. He's the priest of the world. He's the priest of the whole of his world. Because Israel is in all these nations. So we want to be a benefit to all these nations. We want to be a blessing to all these nations. We want to be an increase to all these nations. So, yeah, Baruch Hashem. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kohen. If you have any more questions or concerns, please let us know. At this time, you can do so. Welcome to the room. If you're new, let us know where you're dispersed in the nations. And let's get on with manifesting and attracting the desires of our heart, our wants, our needs, and keep it moving forward, Mishpachah. Shabbat Shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. Your potential is off the charts. Your potential is unlimited. Baruch Hashem. It's infinite. Thank you to the universe. Over to you, Kohen.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. So because there are two calendars in operation. There's the Enoch calendar that some of us diehards follow, and there's the other one, the lunar calendar, the Jewish one. And so those of you who follow the Enoch calendar, the festival will begin 24th May, this Friday, sunrise, and it will end Saturday, Sabbath sunset. Sunset will be the second day. And because the lunar calendar festival, the ones who are celebrating the Jewish lunar one, the Pentecost will be in June for that one. I believe I would check the dates on that for the Pentecost based on the. Let me just have a quick check. Pentecost on our lunar calendar is when is I think it's June 9. Yeah, so it begins on June 9 for that one. If you're doing that's on a Sunday apparently. So those of you doing the lunar calendar, you have to wait till June 9. Those of us doing the Hanuk calendar will be operating on next Friday. So question is, what do we do? This is another question that comes up. What we do? Well, for me, my family, we're gonna probably make a nice cake. We're gonna give thanks to God in little prayer, in little devotion to God, and sing some hymns meaning psalms, and then we're gonna celebrate, eat, and be merry and be joyful and give thanks, give gratitude for the infinite abundance that the Master of heaven and earth has bestowed upon us. And so that's normally what we do. And of course we are going to be giving thanks for the Torah, for the giving of the Torah as a national body to us at Mount Sinai, when it was given to our people as a corporate body, as a marital contract, as a ketubah, marriage document. So we will celebrate that, and of course we will celebrate the fact that the Torah was given to our forefather Abraham, and he celebrated it, and so he too was given the covenants that today we are aspired to. And no, we don't fast because we are not commanded to fast, we are commanded to be joyful. And fasting is usually mentioned as a time of when you are seeking something, when you are being remorseful for something that maybe you did wrong, or maybe you're seeking some favor, and that's when you may want to fast. So we're not seeking any fasting this time, because we already have the favor, and the only fast that is commanded to us is the Yom Kippur fast, which is going to be fall festivals. So there's plenty of time for that. Fasting, I know it's a Muslim fasting month this month. They're all fasting. So it's a busy fasting month for them, but not for us. We don't fast this month. So that should be great. Enjoy yourselves, because we're going to meet now next Shabbat. So enjoy yourselves, be happy, give thanks to the God of Israel. Let me, I was just doing some rough calculations over here, and I thought, let me put this into perspective, and I thought, what, let me put this into perspective, and if I calculated into perspective, and this is just giving you a little perspective of infinite abundance. If I was able to teach you a method in which you could make $1 a day, if all I did today was teach you a method in which you can make $1 a day, and that's 365 days a year, right? And if we then calculated this by 30 years, let's say by 30 years, 30 years is 3 decades. If we calculated this by 30 years, that'd be $10,950 that you'll be in credit. In other words, benefit that you'll have. Now, I can tell you that people, and I'm talking about $1 a day, right? Now, that may seem like minuscule to some of you. It may seem like, really small. But how many of you would give thanks for receiving $10,950 if you were in that kind of situation and you were able to receive that? I'm pretty sure that all of you will say, absolutely, I want to take it. And that's 30 years. And I'm not even saying 30 years. Rabbi Kefa will probably give this testimony later in his life, and he will tell you what he has been given and how many dollars a day he will be making. So I won't state the obvious, but it will be definitely more than $1 a day. Tell you that. And in a decade, I could probably sit here and tell you that Kefa should be able to pay for his son's education completely. When his son don't even need to be 18. His son don't even need to be 18 years old, and he'll be able to pay for his education before he's even maybe 10 years old. He'll be able to pay for the education. But having said that, that's just the kind of level of the infinite abundance that he will have in his life. And then he won't just stop there. He'll pass it on to his children and children's children. So that's the kind of knowledge that we're talking about over here. And the kind of knowledge that you're receiving from me is a kind of knowledge where you will benefit for the rest of your life. Not just yourselves only, but your children will benefit, and your children's children will benefit. So it's important to understand that what we are doing here is we're not just saying, hey, do this, but we're actually giving you, my job here is to give you methodology, and my job is to give you things that will definitely, not maybe and possibly, no, these will definitely change your life. These will definitely benefit you. These will change your life to something of great abundance, wealth, money, love, everything that you desired. The name of the stone, the name of the stone is Moldavite, I believe, is the name of the stone. It's a little hard to get, and you could probably buy it from some of these stores. It's a green color stone. They come in different sizes, but they're always coming in smaller sizes, and they're not big in size. But if you hold that stone in your left hand or right hand, if you decide whichever hand you want to hold it in, left hand, it generates an energy, and it directly, I think Moldavite, I think it's like that, Moldavite, and it will generate a frequency. And if you have issues of the heart, let me tell you something of interest. If you have issues of the heart, like a heartbreak, I used to joke with my friends. I say, my heart is broken. I said, can I give you some glue to mend it? So, if you have a broken heart, if you have issues in your heart, tensions and, worries and stuff, you hold that stone in your hand. It is supposed to give you energy to heal your heart. Within 30 seconds, your body should feel that energy. That's the kind of stone this one is. So this is why it's a little hard to get. It's they also have the price. You have to circulate a little bit more money for it. It's not like one of those cheapy stones you can pick up for $2. You'll definitely not find this for $2, that's for sure. So this stone can cost sometimes thousands of dollars. Sometimes some of these stones are listed at, my goodness, ridiculous prices, $30,000, $40,000 a piece. But if you can pick up one for, give and take for maybe $15, $20, maybe you can pick up one for $20 circulation, $30 circulation, then that is great. Because when you do your meditation, then you put that stone in your hand. Put it in your hand when you do your meditation. Then it will help you line up. It will help you greatly in your results, and thereon, and therefore other things that you do, it will definitely be correlated to what you're trying to do. So it's important that those of you who can circulate $30, $20 to $30, I would highly encourage you get this stone. And if you like to know about an oil or something that you can drink or apply to your body that is of great benefit for health, that would be the carbon C60. So carbon C60 oil, usually virgin olive oil comes carbon C60. Sometimes they also have another oil that they sell as carbon C60. So depending on, again, which oil you buy, they are extremely beneficial to your health. And again, you're going to have to circulate. Those come in, they're not going to be a $2-5 spend. That you're going to have to circulate more money on that. So I think that you're looking at maybe $50, $60 somewhere there circulation to acquire that kind of thing. However, that is recommended for those of you who suffer from illnesses. If you suffer from illnesses, serious kind of illnesses, ill health, then two things I recommend is the carbon C60, and I recommend the moldavite stone. These two I highly recommend for you to acquire, and they will help you in your illness and illnesses also. And with that, if there's any questions you'd like to ask, I'm more than happy to help answer those at this point before I close the room. Okay, so there's no questions. I'm just thinking. Yes, it is carbon C60. CARBON C for cat, C for Charlie, 60 as a number. Yes, that you should be able to find that at most places, but they come in different varieties, different forms. You even get carbon C60 shampoos that you can put in your hair. That is really, really good for your hair. So this is another thing. It's not just for your skin, it can be for your hair as well. Yeah, moldavite stone, that is the one. And moldavite stone, they're not going to come in big sizes, because unless you're a millionaire already, you can then afford the bigger size. You can then circulate the $50,000-$60,000 and get a bigger size moldavite stone. But other than that, I think it'd be appropriate to get a, potentially you should be able to pick up a stone for around anywhere between $12 to $30 would be, I guess, a reasonable circulation of money. Now, to go a little bit further into it, and now those of you who do desire to get the Subliminal 360 program, some of the affirmations I like to highly recommend is that you need to put into your program will be of the effect of obviously relational. There should be definitely some relational ones that you need to put in manually, because it may have some of it's going to have a lot of its own. But I always encourage you put your personal ones in there, like relational type ones. And the relational type ones always going to be, because some of you may be looking for marriages, love, relationships, children, and other things that you desire in your life. And of course, it's very important to build families. So if you want to try to build families, you want a great wife, and so you need to have some great affirmations for that will help you. And one of the ones that I believe that really will help you is one. Let me see if I can give you one that will really help you. Let me see. Let's see what I can give you that will you could really incorporate into your daily reading, because that will be tremendous. Okay, so one really good one would be such as this: I am now creating a life of my dreams in an easy, relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way. Or it could be worded, I am now living a life of my dreams in an easy, relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way. And not just creating, you could put living. So I would change that to, I am now living a life of my dreams in an easy, relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way. And the other one you would do is, life brings me only good experiences. Life brings me only good experiences. And another one I would recommend, which I use, all is well in my world, my life is perfect. All is well in my world, my life is perfect. I live in limitless love and joy. I live in limitless love and joy. I have healthy relationships. I have healthy relationships. My relationships are loving and harmonious. My relationships are loving and harmonious. So this is going to be a number of them. This is going to be number one. I'm now living a life of my dreams in an easy and relaxed manner. That would be number one. Second one would be that you would have, and this is by the way, this is mine as well. This is something that I use. My home is a haven of peace and love. That'd be number two. Then you have, all is well in my world, my life is perfect. That's number three. Number four, I live in limitless love and joy. I live in limitless love and joy. That's number four. Number five, I have healthy relationships. Number six, my relationships are loving and harmonious. My relationships are loving and harmonious. Now, there's another one. Yes. You see, you may actually use an affirmation that may actually end up being, I don't know, might be contradictory in some way, or maybe not quite what you're desiring for it to be. So there are ways to word affirmations to bring the best outcome in your life. In other words, so it's not negative. Like for instance, people who have debt. People who have debt and they owe money, and so a lot of the teachings out there state that, hey, don't use certain words, or don't say, I want to pay off, whatever, I want to pay off my debt. They suggest you don't use these words, I want to pay off my debt, because it may not work to your benefit. So what I usually suggest for that is the affirmation that you want to make that will really be helpful is something like this. And you can say something to the effect of, I am debt free, like that. Or you can say, I have an abundance of income. Or you could say, I have infinite income. Now the other way you can word it, people that work in jobs, in corporations and other jobs, this is a really good affirmation to use, and you should aspire to this. And that would be, yes, you can say that, but you don't need to say I need. Don't ever use the word need. Need is the wrong word. You will say, my life is a life of miracles. That's how you should word it. Wherever the word need, want, like, all these words should never be in your vocabulary. It should always be, my life is a life of miracles. I have infinite abundance. I have healthy finances. I am debt free. Or it will be, I have extra income. I have extra income to fulfill all my obligations. See, that's even a better one. I have extra income to fulfill all my obligations, which means that any debts that you have, any loans that you have, you can pay them off. So I have extra income to fulfill all my obligations. And those of you struggling with zero balances, zero balance accounts, or $5 in the accounts and they're charging you $10 for monthly to maintain your account, you should be saying that I have healthy balances. I have healthy balances with some emotion, with some feeling. I have healthy balances, and you look at it, you visualize that in your healthy balances, because your emotions are everything. Your heart is very powerful. Your heart is very powerful, and it can add to your visualization, and it can bring something to effect. This is why in the Bible you always read about God testing your kidneys and your liver. It says God tests your reins. It's not quite your reins. God will test your kidneys and liver. Why does God mention kidneys and livers? Because these are organs. They hold information. They hold certain things. And from a medical point of view, we always, in America and the West generally, it's always about, hey, liver this, this particular enzyme is in the liver, and if you eat this vitamins, and this will do for the liver this good, and for the kidneys it will do this good. No, in the spiritual realm, energy realm, liver, kidneys, heart actually have a function to play. So this is why we talk about that. By the way, do you know your kidneys open into your ear? So anybody who is having hearing issues should need to tonify their kidneys. Having said that, this is where we need to think, and that's why the affirmations I stated, this is recorded, and I'll put it up a little later today, and you can download this recording, and then you can pause the recording and record your affirmations as I said, so it will help you to make better affirmations. I was reading the story of some person on the internet that didn't believe in, he was struggling at 30 years old and didn't believe in anything, kind of like, in the hippie culture at that time. And he learned about affirmations, and he started to do affirmations, and this man's life completely changed. Today is a very successful man, businessman actually, a very successful businessman. He's probably retired already, because it looks like to me he's probably an elderly gentleman. But he, went through his life just doing the affirmations, and he didn't do no visualization, by the way. No visualization. He didn't even know about it probably at the time until later. Later he got to know that through I don't know if it was an Indian woman that introduced him, or somebody introduced him. But in the meantime, he said his whole life changed with just affirmations. So affirmations are very powerful. And if you read them with emotions behind, then they can really lift you up. Right emotions. Right emotions. You mix your right emotions through your heart, and you could say an affirmation in a lame way. You could do it in a lame way. Like a lame way affirmation could be like let me say a lame way affirmation. What's a lame way affirmation? It'd be like, I am happy. I am happy. Well, that's a very lame affirmation. Why? Affirmation is good, but the way of saying it is very lame. So if you want to say I am happy, you got to say it with some emotions to it, with some love and some excitement to it. So you might say, I am happy. I am happy. That's some emotions added to it, and you are happy. But if you're going to say, I am happy, I am happy, so that's not going to help you very much, because that's a robot, lame affirmation, robotic. So you need to, some of you are going to have that lame kind of language, because you've been brought up in a lame kind of way. What I mean is that you've been brought up by families that they've kept you, in your language chained up, like they don't, you're not taught happiness, you're not taught love, you're just taught seriousness, and you become so serious in life. And so you need to remove that seriousness, is that reservedness, that reservedness, because I was brought up, when I was brought up, my father was very serious. He was very serious with us, And so we were kind of brought up serious. But I can tell you one thing, that when my father went out of the door, we were like jokers all over the place. We were, throwing pillows at each other, brothers and sisters, and laughing and joking. As soon as the father enters the door, boom, we're all quiet, serious, like nothing happened. So that's my point, right? Is that you got to be, let yourself go a little bit and be a happy person. So the feeling's very important, is key with the affirmation. So when you write your script that you've been advised to write your script in the morning, and you get up in the morning, write your script, then you say your affirmations in the morning, say them with a nice feeling. I am happy, not I am happy. I am happy. It looks like you're like sad more than happy. So the mirror technique is to bring out the you from you. The mirror technique's purpose is, when you stand in front of the mirror and you speak something, is to bring out your good self. Your good self is what you are aspiring to be. And if you are a shy person, if you have a hard time speaking in front of people, then the mirror technique will help you to bring that shyness out, that reservedness, and then you can be able to speak to other people confidently. It's to bring confidence out. So these are things, these are techniques that are aligned, subconsciously aligned to your body, and they will help you in all sorts of wonderful ways. And they will change your life completely. How you relate to people, how you relate to family. And I'm pretty sure, and I can guarantee you, that in the last 3 months or 4 months of our lectures, or even 5 months of our lectures, I'm pretty sure that most of your family relationships have become great, and they're probably going to become even greater. So because it's just how you are relating to the teachings, how you relate to your life, how your life is changing, and you're gonna know that everything around you is changing. When you change, everything around you changes as well. That's a given, and that's a guarantee. So with that, have a great Shabbat over here in North America, and those of you over across the pond in European landscapes. You're still fighting with Brexit and still fighting with European, trying to break away from Great Britain. Have a great week ahead, as the pound bobs up and down like a yo-yo. So take care, lots of love, and lots of good karma ahead for you, all of you. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, may the name of Yahweh be magnificent and praised forever and ever. Amen.